All right. It's Tuesday. Hello. It's Twin Flame Tuesday, everybody. Oh, we're going to talk about some shit. Gonna get your twin flame back? Yeah, maybe. Help a lot of people do it. But step one, you gotta bust some myth. We're gonna do some myth busting today. You guys, it needs to be done. It is dark. It has begun. Twin Flame Tuesday. Thrills, chills, and thrills. That's right. All right, it's Tuesday. What's up, everybody? What you guys doing out there? I'm doing super fly. Super fly. As always. I'm having way too much fun up here. Can you tell? All right, guys. We are going to play a little game. Let's see if you guys can remember this game. Do you remember this?
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell which thing is not like the other by the time I finish this song?
Which one is it? Which one could it be?
A healthy relationship is two people choosing each other, not one person chasing while the other one is bullshitting or breadcrumbing you. Attachment isn't love. Sometimes it's just fucking anxiety dressed up as chemistry so that it tricks you. Do they actually make you feel safe, or are you just addicted to the guessing game that they leave you with every time? Falling in love doesn't mean you fill holes. Falling in love means that you accept the other person for who they are and you build a fucking life together. So I want you to ask yourself, am I actually connecting with them? Meaning I love their morals, ethos, and ethics. I think their character is amazing. Or am I just attaching because I'm so terrified that if I don't get them, I'm never going to meet anybody else and I need them? Because baby, that's just your core beliefs in your childhood rearing its ugly head. Are they really that amazing, or are they just fucking familiar?
So how do you know if he is the Awaken masculine? One is that he can maintain eye contact with you without looking away or without looking at his phone or distracting himself. Number two, he has grounded, strong presence. He is there, present with you, and able to hold space for you and your emotions. Number three, he's comfortable with his own emotions and he's able to communicate his feelings without shutting down. He's able to keep an open line of communication with you without running away for, weeks on end without responding, but he's there to listen to you and also to respond. You'll feel the connection with him and you'll feel safe.
You'll
with
feel
him
safe?
in his presence. You'll feel like you can relax and you are safe.
Like you're safe.
To be in his presence, to communicate with him.
5 signs you're in a healthy relationship. You feel safe with them. You just know they have your back. You feel seen and heard whenever you're around them. They make you feel confident, like you can do anything. Their words and actions make you feel loved. And a quick connection with them makes you feel grounded.
A healthy relationship is one where you feel heard without having to shout. It's one where you feel loved without having to shrink. It's one where you feel respected in silence, not just praised in public. It's one where you feel desired for who you are, not just what you offer. It's a relationship where you feel pushed to grow, never pressured to perform. A place where peace isn't boring and passion isn't toxic. Because real love doesn't choose between calm and chemistry. It gives you both.
Oh, it gives you both. Okay. Good to know. All right, guys, we're going to try that again. I want some audience participation. Can you tell me?
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell which thing is not like the other by the time I finish this song?
Which one could it be? See if you guys got any good guesses.
A healthy relationship is two people choosing each other, not one person chasing while the other one is bullshitting.
Video one?
Attachment isn't love. Sometimes it's just fucking anxiety dressed up as chemistry so that it tricks you. Do they actually make you feel safe, or are you just addicted to the guessing game that they leave you with every time? Falling in love doesn't mean you fill holes. Falling in love means that you accept the other person for who they are and you build a fucking life together. So I want you to ask yourself, am I actually connecting with them? Meaning I love their morals, ethos, and ethics. I think their character is amazing. Or am I just attaching because I'm so terrified that if I don't get them, I'm never going to meet anybody else and I need them? Because baby, that's just your core beliefs in your childhood rearing its ugly head. Are they really that amazing, or are they just fucking familiar?
So how do you know
which video is not like the others? Can you guess?
if he is the Awaken masculine? One is that he can maintain eye contact with you without looking away or without looking at his phone or distracting himself. Number two, he has grounded, strong presence. He is there, present with you, and able to hold space for you and your emotions. Number three, he's comfortable with his own emotions and he's able to communicate his feelings without shutting down. He's able to keep an open line of communication with you without running away for, weeks on end without responding, but he's there to listen to you and also to respond. You'll feel the connection with him and you'll feel safe with him in his presence. You'll feel like you can relax and you are safe to be in his presence, to communicate with him.
5 signs you're in a healthy relationship. You feel safe with them. You just know they have your back.
You feel safe.
You feel seen and heard whenever you're around them. They make you feel confident, like you can do anything. Their words and actions make you feel loved. And a quick connection with them makes you feel grounded.
A healthy relationship is one where you feel heard without having to shout. It's one where you feel loved without having to shrink. It's one where you feel respected in silence, not just praised in public. It's one where you feel desired for who you are, not just what you offer. It's a relationship where you feel pushed to grow, never pressured to perform. A place where peace isn't boring and passion isn't toxic. Because real love doesn't choose between calm and chemistry. It gives you both.
Okay, so we got 2 people in the chat saying that it's video 2. One person is saying that it's video 1. Anybody else? We can do it one more time. It's only 2 minutes. The video. Let's do it one more time. I want you guys to guess. I don't want to have to tell you this time. Here we go.
A healthy relationship is two people choosing each other, not one person chasing while the other one is bullshitting or breadcrumbing you. Attachment isn't love. Sometimes it's just fucking anxiety dressed up as chemistry so that it tricks you. Do they actually make you feel safe, or are you just addicted to the guessing game that they leave you with every time? Falling in love doesn't mean you fill holes. Falling in love means that you accept the other person for who they are and you build a fucking life together. So I want you to ask yourself, am I actually connecting with them? Meaning I love their morals, ethos, and ethics. I think their character is amazing. Or am I just attaching because I'm so terrified that if I don't get them, I'm never going to meet anybody else and I need them? Because baby, that's just your core beliefs in your childhood rearing its ugly head. Are they really that amazing, or are they just fucking familiar?
So how do you know if he is the Awaken masculine? One is that he can maintain eye contact with you without looking away or without looking at his phone or distracting himself. Number two, he has grounded, strong presence. He is there, present with you, and able to hold space for you and your emotions. Number three, he's comfortable with his own emotions and he's able to communicate his feelings without shutting down. He's able to keep an open line of communication with you without running away for, weeks on end without responding, but he's there to listen to you and also to respond. You'll feel the connection with him and you'll feel safe with him in his presence. You'll feel like you can relax and you are safe to be in his presence, to communicate with him.
5 signs you're in a healthy relationship. You feel safe with them. You just know they have your back. You feel seen and heard whenever you're around them. They make you feel confident, like you can do anything. Their words and actions make you feel loved. And a quick connection with them makes you feel grounded.
A healthy relationship is one where you feel heard without having to shout. It's one where you feel loved without having to shrink. It's one where you feel respected in silence, not just praised in public. It's one where you feel desired for who you are, not just what you offer. It's a relationship where you feel pushed to grow, never pressured to perform. A place where peace isn't boring and passion isn't toxic. Because real love doesn't choose between calm and chemistry. It gives you both.
A healthy
Well, most of you picked video number 2. There's one person that's number 3. One person is a number 4. There's a couple of number 1s. Now, for those of you who picked video number 2, why did you pick video number 2? Let me know in the chat. One person, I liked this answer. None. None of them stick out. But there is something about video 2. So those of you that picked video number 2, what was it about video number 2 that caught your attention? What was it? Anybody? Here, maybe I'll just replay that part real quick. We'll just do that one.
familiar.
So how do you know if he is the Awaken masculine? One is that he can maintain eye contact with you without looking away or without looking at his phone or distracting himself. Number 2, he has grounded, strong presence. He is there, present with you and able to hold space for you and your emotions. Number 3, he's comfortable with his own emotions and he's able to communicate his feelings without shutting down. He's able to keep an open line of communication with you without running away for, weeks on end without responding, but he's there to listen to you and also to respond. You'll feel the connection with him and you'll feel safe with him in his presence. You'll feel like you can relax and you are safe.
You feel
to
safe.
be in his presence, to communicate with him.
You feel safe. That's what it is.
5 signs you're in a healthy relationship. You feel safe with them. You just know.
Okay. Yeah. So 3 of those videos, and I took the actual person talking out, obviously, and replaced it with a picture, but 3 of those videos were from YouTube channels where they just kind of give general relationship advice, which is fine. That's fine. You may agree or disagree with the things they're saying, but they don't in any way claim to be spiritual or twin flames. Number 2 is from a YouTube channel where these 2 people claim to be twin flames. And both the so-called DF and DM, the feminine and the masculine, they're both going, hi, we're twin flames. Look at us. And of course, the DM, the masculine, so-called masculine, it doesn't work on gender. It's not gender. Remember, it's energy, and it's always been energy. Always. Before the hipsters, the new age hipsters, turned it into a fad. It was always physics, long before the new agers came along and took it took twin flames, right? Well, anyway, when you listen to the guy talk in video number 2, it doesn't really sound any different than the other 3 videos. Now, does it? And that's why all of y'all in the chat were giving different answers. Some of you thought it was 1, some of you thought it was 2, some of you thought it was 3, and some of you thought it was 4. You can't tell the damn difference. Guys, I was trying to explain this to a friend of mine the other day. And I've never really explained twin flames to her very deeply. I mean, she knows what I do. And she knows my twin flame. But she was asking me about a relationship she had, which was an obvious soulmate relationship. There's not really any such thing as a soulmate per se. You could put the label soulmate on some things, and that's fine. But I'll come back to that later. But, you know, that's what she was describing to me. And I said that to her. And she goes, yeah, you're right. That's what people have always called a soulmate. And I go, yes. So if that's what people always call a soulmate, why do we even need to have the term twin flame? And as soon as I said that to her, she went, oh, I get it. Right? It occurred to her, it made sense to her that whatever it is I'm doing every day up here on YouTube is something that is different from a soulmate. And then I started to explain to her what a twin flame really is and how you can really tell if you met a twin flame. And that's another problem. Oh my fucking God. You guys. People, like, most of the time when you talk to somebody who's not really a twin flame, most of the time their argument is semantics. Straight up. Like, I'm not allowed to call this a pencil because what if everybody wants to call something else a pencil? Do you see this on your screen? What is this? Well, I call it a pair of scissors, but if somebody else wants to call this a pencil, you have to let them. And then when you point that out, that they are doing that, they go, no, I'm not. Oh my God. I had quite a week and a weekend over the last few days, guys. I'll show you on my Facebook page. Oh man, I pissed a lot of people off. And oh well, whoever it is I was talking to, the person who they call twin flame is not the same soul as they are. That's twin flames. Always has been, always will be. Twin flames, it's one soul in 2 bodies. And you can prove it, and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. And every time, almost every time that you talk to these people, it always starts with generic relationship stuff, like all the videos that I just showed you, or when you start to question them on some of the spiritual or metaphysical experiences, the paranormal experiences that they should be having, they either claim that that doesn't matter or they claim that they are having them. But when you start drilling down and asking them some clarifying questions, you find out that they are not, like Kundalini, for example. And so apparently a pencil, right? You see this pair of scissors I'm holding, right? Everybody else calls it a pair of scissors. They're going to tell you that you're wrong if you don't let them call this a pencil. Literally. Guys, in the chat right now, let me know if you can answer this question. Why do we have words? Why do we have vocabulary? Look at it this way. Answer this question. Why is a word invented in the first place? Can anybody in the chat tell me why a word is invented in the first place? Does anybody know why a word would be invented? Anybody in the chat, can you tell me why we have words? Why are words invented in the first place? Right. Exactly. To convey concepts in a collective way. To describe things. To explain what's happening. That's another valid answer. Like when somebody invented the word scissors, the whole purpose of inventing that word is to describe this object I'm holding in my hand. Somebody came up with this object called scissors, but it was not called scissors yet. Or, I don't know, wind. Wind was there before humans were there, right? And when humans started to develop words and language and vocabulary, somebody said, let's call this thing that already exists. You feel the air blowing, right? Let's call it wind. But the thing was there first. In today's spiritual marketplace, I mean, not necessarily like the general spiritual community at large, they're actually pretty good about understanding the things I'm telling you right now. It's mostly this niche, twin flames. It's insufferable. And the entire field has become so intellectually undisciplined that it's like I have to go around cleaning it up all the time. You have to explain to them what a fucking word is. That's gotten that bad. So you have to remind them that Kundalini already is defined, or psychic, the word psychic is already defined, or when I'm talking about a spontaneous spiritual awakening, it's involuntary. And they don't even care if you say that. They're going to start to argue with you about the meaning of the word involuntary. And every time you try to do it with these people, you're just going to pull your hair out. That's why I'm bald, right? That's not why I'm bald, but really, like, that's always the way it's going to go, guys. And you're just wasting your time with these people. So I just delete them. I'll try like to talk to them. I'll try to have a rational conversation. You cannot have a rational conversation about something like spontaneous Kundalini. I just used the word spontaneous, right? Spontaneous Kundalini. Do you remember, you guys, do you remember this thing? Not that. This. Do you remember this? I show this like almost in every video. Yeah, if you go down a little bit, right here, they're talking about spontaneous spiritual and Kundalini awakenings. So if you take up an interest in spirituality and you just find yourself drawn to it, it's very compelling. It's really interesting, and you really want to talk about it. That's awesome. But you're not forced to do it. You have a very strong desire to do it. And you might even feel like, I just got to do it. But it's not the same thing as like somebody grabbing you and forcing you to do something. Like when the police come and arrest you, you can either go along with it or resist. But if you resist, you know what's going to happen, right? You know what they say? Don't resist police, just deal with it in court, right? Like let the judge decide what to do with you. But when it comes to a spontaneous spiritual awakening, it is involuntary. It's like the police coming to get you. You're going to do it. You know, you could call it a political awakening when I was in my 20s and I realized the New World Order and this wicked system of things we live under. There's the oligarchs, the big banking families that run everything, which is, by the way, it was the inspiration for the name of my band. I was in a band. I was the singer, and we were the New World All-Stars. And it was kind of my way of flipping the bird to the New World Order, right? And that's where the name for my YouTube channel came from. So yeah, you could call that a political awakening because I really wanted to learn about that stuff and I couldn't shut the fuck up about it. I was talking to all my friends about it, my coworkers, and I just went on and on and on. My wife at the time, even at one point, she was like, you kind of do it too much and it's a little bit unhealthy. Right? Like that's how much I was doing it. And I was sending emails out to everybody every day and, you know, and then it kind of wore off once I got fully educated, but it was just so shocking to me that like how effectively the elite families are at hiding what they're doing or trying to trick you into giving them your consent. Well, anyway, I had a voluntary spiritual awakening also. I did. I had a voluntary spiritual awakening when I was about 20. And I was just drawn to meditation and I had a couple of experience with ghosts and stuff like that. I had a Satori, you know, when I meditated for long enough, I had a Satori one time, but that is not the same as a forced spiritual awakening, an involuntary spiritual awakening, like the police coming to get you. You're going to do it. Or involuntary kundalini, right? That's what they are talking about when they are using the word spontaneous in this research paper. And again, if you're new here and you don't know what this is a peer-reviewed research paper on the phenomenon of a spontaneous spiritual awakening. If you're watching in Spanish right now, of course, the link, if you're watching a clip video anyway, the link will be below for you to go check this out in Spanish. All I did was just use the Google Translator link, but it's in the description of every one of my videos now. And these aren't the only people by far. We're definitely going to talk about that today, you guys, but these are psychologists, college professors, and paranormal researchers at prestigious universities and institutions. The University of Greenwich in London, the Imperial College of London, Center for Psychedelic Research, Department of Brain Sciences, Faculty of Medicine, Imperial College of London. I mean, did you even know that kind of scientific research existed? And this is another thing, is the fake twin flames who think that they're divine masculine, which again, it's not gender. That's just a label. And I have a pretty good idea why those labels are being used. I can show you, but it's really energy. Anyway, the fake twin flames, they're not twin flames. They will even reject the legitimate science that's being done on stuff like this. And they don't even know what science really is. That's another problem, is they don't understand. It's just a methodology, you guys. They think science is some dudes in lab coats with test tubes and Bunsen burners. You know, that's what they think science is. It's some building with people in it doing science things, right? It's not. It's a methodology. And you would be amazed at how much legitimate controlled science there is about stuff like this. You guys ever read any Joe Dispenza? He's a doctor. And this is some earth-shattering stuff, guys. His books, Epigenetics. Greg Braden, he's another good one. Guys, and you know what's interesting is the science that's being done on these fields of research, these what used to be mystical topics, are only validating things that spiritual people have been talking about for a long time. Long time, you guys. So that's kind of getting your feet wet, what I'm all about on this YouTube project. I want the real, because I'm here to let you know twin flames are real. This is a real phenomenon. And again, there's a very rational explanation for it, but unfortunately, it's been hijacked by a bunch of wannabes. And I'm kind of sick of it, to the point where I'm just going to call them wannabes and fakes. And if that makes me that I'm being insulting, so be it. But if we look at the term wannabe or fake in a very like empirical sense, it's not name calling, because they want to be something that they are not. They want to be something that they are not. They call themselves a twin flame. They say their masculine is awakening, but all you got to do is just ask them a few questions and you'll find out, yeah, they're not. They're not having any kind of a spontaneous experience. And we are about to take a hard left-hand turn. And I'm going to show you examples of exactly what I'm talking about. An involuntary, spontaneous spiritual awakening. And again, they'll argue with you about that, right? Like my political awakening or my voluntary spiritual awakening that I just used as examples where I felt drawn to it, very drawn to these things, is not the same as the police coming to get you and making you do it. You're not trying to have Kundalini. It just starts happening. These other people are trying to get it to happen. Very different, you guys. It's involuntary. What's happening to you. And it's earth-shattering. And by the way, you know what else? The vast majority of people that really met another incarnation of their soul, twin flame, they were not really particularly spiritual people at all to begin with. Isn't that interesting? Oh, just you wait. I'm going to show you some examples. You can always spot these people, the fakes, right? The not twin flames. By the way, we got super chats turned on. We're going to do a nice long live stream like we always do. I've got the teaching that I'm going to incorporate into the live stream. But super chats stop the show. You want to ask me any questions about your twin flame, what to do. Is it my twin flame? Can you help me? You know, whatever. You got a situation going on with them, whatever it is, any question, hit me up in the chat. If I see a good one, we'll do it. We'll do it. No charge, but super chats, they're a real showstopper. I'll kind of wrap up whatever I'm talking about. If I'm talking about today's topic, I will hit pause and go to your question. I don't have a regular corporate job. This is it. This is how I make money. I sign up students into my coaching program, over 8,000 people that I've signed up to date. Yes, it's really 8,000. If you want, I can prove that too. And I can also show you the success stories. As always, if you're interested, there's this. The people that I've helped to be together with their twin flame. And there's a lot of them, guys. English, I got Spanish. There's this playlist. We're actually going to talk about one of those people today. Her name is Rain. This gal here, I got this video all queued up for you. This is how you tell if you met a twin flame. The thing that her and I talked about. And look, even in the YouTube Ask feature, I typed in, where's the part where she talks about experiencing oneness? And then her twin flame contacted her. And I'm not talking about this ephemeral, tenuous, yeah, I've heard that we're one with everything. And I kind of feel that in my heart, you know, kind of a tenuous, light experience, maybe like a gratitude for that even. These are good things, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is it overtakes your body and your mind completely shuts off and you're overcome with this intense, gripping sense that you are one with everything. So let's take a hard left turn. We're going to take a hard left turn right now, you guys. Watch this. Watch this.
Kundalini Awaken.
Wait, hold on. Look at that. Right off the bat. Look at how he titles the video. Look at the title. He's not just talking about somebody meditating and doing these pranic, is it pranic or pranic, pranic practices to get the Kundalini to start going. You can do it that way too. No, he's talking about a spontaneous, involuntary Kundalini awakening.
Kundalini awakening is a big blast of Shakti through the system. In a way, everything is Kundalini, everything is that Shakti. Shakti just means energy. But sometimes, in some people, they get a big blast of it at one time through the Shakti.
A big blast of it. A big blast. When I had it, I could feel this sense of anti-gravity associated with it. And it was like physically pulling my body around, you guys. I was being pulled around. Now, I could have just walked the other way, but it was tugging at my physical body. It's intense, you guys. I would be walking down the street, just kind of going with it just to see what it would do. And I could feel it pulling at me. So I kind of just went wherever it was taking me. And so I was kind of weaving down the sidewalk as I was walking. I probably looked like a crazy person. And people in the cars that were going by were looking at me like I was a crazy person. And guys, most of you watching that have had that experience of spontaneous Kundalini, you've never been diagnosed with any problems or anything, there's nothing wrong with you. And I spent a couple of years, with a very good psychologist. I'm a narcissism survivor, and I just got out of a toxic situation with some family. This was about 4 years ago. And I talked to him for 2 years. And at one point, I don't remember how it came up in the conversation, but he said, "You're not pathological." He said that to me. He's very expensive, very good, over 30 years of clinical experience, right? Working with patients for 30 years, very in demand. He works with the court system too. He's a college professor. He's written books. I mean, he was top shelf, PhD psychologist. And, he's got a nose for these things. And he said, yeah, there's nothing wrong with you. So the only problem I ever had was to just have weak boundaries and be a people pleaser, right? I'm a narcissism survivor. But I've never had any problems. And so there you go. And again, it's not just me. Lots of people have had this experience. Lots of them, you guys, have had spontaneous Kundalini or a spontaneous awakening experience. And there's people that'll talk about it with you all the time, guys.
Kundalini awakening is a big blast of Shakti through the system. In a way, everything is Kundalini, everything is that Shakti. Shakti just means energy. But sometimes, in some people, they get a big blast of it at one time through the chakra systems. Now, what you can find, though, is that because that's happened, the ego, this me in the mind, can completely leave you temporarily. Yep. Now we enter into a space of their probably complete unity consciousness. Wonderful feeling.
What? Unity consciousness? You mean like union? Is this guy a twin flame? Nope. Head over to his YouTube channel. He's not going to be talking about twin flames, guys. Twin flames are using that word the wrong way.
bliss and love. But of course, naturally, when you go to the top of the mountain, you must come back down again, especially if you haven't done the work beforehand. Think about this, you've had one of these experiences, so well done you. But then the work has to be done, because if the work hasn't been done, you will come crashing back down. And that is what naturally happens.
Right. You got to learn non-duality teachings and stay ahead of the ego, because it'll try to take over again, of course. Now, this gal is somebody who on purpose is trying to get Kundalini to happen. So voluntary Kundalini. And she works with clients to do that. And she's very good at what she does.
What does Kundalini energy feel like? This can be a bit of a complicated question because as you work with this energy, it will always be changing. So if you're watching this, you're probably a beginner. Many people will have Kundalini experiences, but since they don't have any reference for what that is, they don't label it that way. One of the hallmark experiences is that the body and the energy will start doing these involuntary movements. And maybe that's the first time someone has experienced the mind taking the back seat and the body's intelligence taking the lead. Visceral experiences you have is pressure on the tailbone, or you have a washing machine type of stuff, going into the fish pose and having the spine flip like seaweed, having the shoulders start to unravel, maybe having the neck move side to side, or having the hand unravel. This is all the body's ways of starting to open up and starting to move energy, and the body will do exactly what it needs to do to purify itself and make space for more Kundalini.
This is an interesting comment in the chat from Mary. Right. Once again, guys, why are words invented in the first place? We just talked about that. Why have a word? Why create a word? Well, it's to describe something that already exists, right? Like the wind. The wind was there before humans came along and invented words. They invented a word to describe something. So here's somebody, Mary, thank you for your comment. She said, I never even heard of Kundalini, but I felt this huge energy up and down going through my spine. Right. It's like your spinal cord is a water pipe. And at first, nothing's going on, but then somebody turns the water on full blast all at once. And you feel it. Your body will involuntarily react to it. You'll go, oh, right? These are very extraordinary experiences, you guys, and they just happen. You're not trying to get them to happen, right? Is it normal that the Kundalini feeling goes down? The energy was strong in the beginning, but now it's a bit numb. Yes. Think of it, Mary, like if your foot is asleep, and then when you get up and walk around, you feel the needles and pins. It's kind of the same idea, kind of the same concept, right? You're part energy. So just looking at either one of these people here on the screen, your body, mind, soul. Well, what is the mind? Well, a better word could be astral body. So the astral body is made up of chakras, metaphysical energy. You see the energy around the people, right? So thoughts, emotions also, right? The astral body, the mind, thoughts, emotions, telepathic energy, Reiki energy type energy, right? Chakras. And when you develop this human ego, it becomes thicker and thicker, more thick, more thick. The ego, layers and layers of clumped on, concept, like self-concepts, emotions, beliefs about who you are. And the more that builds up, we forget that we are actually consciousness, body, mind, soul. What's the soul? Well, mostly just consciousness. So we believe that we are that self-concept of ego. It's an identity. That's going to come up later in today's live stream as well. So when consciousness is exploding and your twin flame, so-called divine masculine, it's not really gender, it's energy. They are the negative polarity. You are the positive polarity, not like magnetism. Not like magnetism, right? It's more like this. It's the second law of thermodynamics, right? Entropy. It's like that, right? In all closed energy systems, energy moves from greater to lesser. So this is not magnetism. It's more like entropy, the second law of thermodynamics. You're the push twin. They are the pull twin, right? It's physics that makes them run, but also this push pull is what triggers your awakening. So you meet them, you get romantic with them, and immediately this siphon, your so-called divine masculine, acts as a siphon, pulling the energy through your chakra systems like a tornado. It's almost like there's a sucking sound. And what happens to you, the so-called feminine, is consciousness starts to explode. And consciousness, actually, your chakras are the radio transmitter receivers that are hardwired tuned to the frequency of your soul. You could think of the soul like a television radio wave, a television signal. That's actually a really good analogy. And that is exactly the kind of analogy that you're going to hear from scientists like Greg Braden or Dr. Joe Dispenza or any other paranormal researcher that we're going to talk about today, like Julia Mossbridge, for example. Well, anyway, that's what triggers your spiritual awakening. Of course, you had Kundalini. There's this rush of consciousness exploding within you. Of course, you're going to have Kundalini. The astral body has become awakened. It's like when your foot wakes up after it fell asleep, right? So to your question, Mary, yes, that's perfectly normal. Once things are moving again, once the awakening has been activated, yes, that Kundalini feeling does kind of taper off. It does. And I've had a couple of other Kundalinis, but the most intense one was at the very, very beginning. It was fucking intense. Oh my God. Well, what about this? What about something like this?
There's this magnetic pull. At that point, when you feel that, you want to try to, I just roll out anymore. So I just roll out onto the floor, right? And at that point, you'll hear like this popping sensation. You'll hear wind, like a loud, like there's so many different, it's hard to explain all the tones, but you will feel and hear the disconnect, right? When you do that. And when you come out, as soon as you come out, it's going to feel, especially if you're rolling out, it's going to feel like your physical body just rolled out of the bed. And you're going to think, oh, I just fell on the floor. But if you stand up from that point and you look on the bed, you'll notice that your physical body's still sleeping on the bed.
So he's talking about a full-blown out-of-body experience. And some people have that. Some people who are having this spontaneous spiritual awakening are having that. Yeah, I think he's looking at his computer screen. He's on a Zoom meeting. But there's other videos where he describes the rolling out of bed sensation. Now, most of the people that I talk to, so you guys know that from time to time, I'll offer a twin flame test, and it's really a spontaneous spiritual awakening test. But there's a couple of other things that are specific to twin flames that I'll ask you about. Also, I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point today. Again, super chats are turned on. You guys, super chats, stop the show. If you got any questions, otherwise, if I see what I feel like are pertinent or good questions in the chat, I'll hit those too. So this is part live Q&A. Every Tuesday, guys, I'm here for it. But anyway, when I ask people about if they had an out-of-body experience, they're expecting something more like what this guy is talking about, like all the way leaving your body, right? So you're still tethered to your body. However, you are inhabiting mostly the astral body, and you could be looking at your physical body. Let me link this again for you guys in the chat. There's a meditation that you can do to try to have that kind of an experience. But if you're trying to do it, that doesn't count as far as if I would consider that a twin flame indicator, right? And again, you have to get a preponderance of the indicators, but you can do it for fun. And I'll tell you what, guys, if anybody can do it, you guys can. If you met your twin flame, you could do it. And I hope that's the right link. I guess I better look. It should be the right link. Yes, it's the gateway process in the chat. I just linked it in the chat, which can help you to have the kind of out-of-body experience he's talking about. Now, here's where I was going with this. Most of the people, when I give them the twin flame test, and I go, how about, did you have any out-of-body experiences? They're thinking of what he's talking about. And they go, no. And I go, well, this could also include things like a sense of viewing yourself from an outside perspective. Like you could be sitting meditating and you could have that happen. And they go, oh yeah, I did. Right? So they're not fully out of their body, but it's like they were maybe part of their energy, part of the astral body came out here a little bit. Their consciousness went into that and they saw like their face for a few seconds from an outside perspective, but they didn't feel like they were fully out of their body, right? And it happened spontaneously. So that actually is very common among the people that I've spoken to. Now, who's this guy? Roland McCready. Roland McCready, PhD, University School of Medicine, Department of Neurology, Department of Rehabilitation, M. Atkinson, Journal of the American College of Cardiology, so he's not a dummy. Well, guess what, you guys? He is the director of research at the Heart Math Institute. Ding, 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 ding. So what are guys like Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton? They're always talking about be heart-centered. Well, why? Well, because your heart chakra is the main connection point to your soul. You know, your twin flame. And doing the heart-brain coherence technique, I've incorporated into my coaching program because it's so effective. And also, the heart-brain coherence technique, this was developed by the Heart Math Institute in California. The heart-brain coherence technique, they teach it to firefighters, police, paramedics, soldiers. Why? Because it works. It has an effect that calms you down and makes you feel good. And it has an effect that'll last for up to 7 hours. The heart-brain coherence technique. And you can just, go look for Greg Braden. He's made videos where he describes it, how to do that. But it's very good. Like if you're having a bad day, you could do it. You'll start to feel better. And you're definitely aligning with something that's a lot closer to the frequency of your soul when you are doing that. And you'll get intuition. So most of the very powerful, stronger intuition that you're going to get comes through the heart. Greg Braden is always talking about this. And guess who else is always talking about this? Roland McCready.
A person sitting at a computer and you push a button and we record all the data, EEG, you know, the brain waves and the heart and skin conductance, these types of things. And then after a few seconds, the computer randomly selects an image that it shows on the screen, a picture. And these are photographs that are already been well researched to evoke certain types of emotions and the intensity of the emotions. But this is done in such a way that you cannot possibly predict the future picture. In fact, the computer doesn't even know. I mean, it's truly randomly selected after the data's been collected. And all we found was heart first. The heart would shift at rhythms. The heart sent a measurably, and this is a key thing, different neural signal to the brain. Then you have a brain response, then a body response, all before you see the picture. So the gut gets the credit, right? Or the hair on the back of the neck, because that's where we feel it. It was heart, brain, body, then conscious if you're paying attention. So the heart was getting the information first. So in other words, the heart appears to have access to a field of information outside the boundaries of time and space.
A field of information outside the boundaries of time and space? Have you guys ever heard of the theory of information realism? Yeah, well, physics is pointing inexorably to mind. What does inexorably mean? It means we're doing it whether you like it or not. We're doing it whether you like it or not. It's called the theory of information realism, which basically is saying that the emptiness of our universe is full of information. Okay. What does that mean? It means the universe is fucking alive. Watch this. Gregory Shaitan is an Argentine-American mathematician and computer scientist. And you can go read up on him, but he's got a bunch of PhDs, and he has his own like mathematical formula named after him. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have like modern digital computers. Like the granular fine-tuning work of working with single electrons through energetic pathways to develop hyper fast computing capabilities. So you're watching me on your cell phone right now. You can think Gregory Shaitan. Look at what he has to say in this interview. This is the Closer to Truth YouTube channel. I reference this YouTube channel as one of the resources on my YouTube channel. If you go to the homepage of my YouTube channel and scroll down, you'll find it. And there's a reason that it's there, guys, because you can prove this shit. You don't have to guess, and we don't have to make stuff up like the New Agers do. Because if we make stuff up, then everybody can claim that they're a twin flame, right? When you bring a guy that's using science into the picture, they don't like that because I seem to be disproving that they are twin flames and that your divine masculine can awaken and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, and this is another thing, guys. Like, why is it a bad thing that science is able to prove that the universe is a living thing that I guess you could call God or the all or the divine, something that spiritual people have known about for a long time? Why is that a bad thing? It's definitely a very good thing because it's proving that you're not crazy. Yes. You can meet somebody who is the same soul as you. Twin flames are real, and there's a very rational explanation for it. Or psychic ability or kundalini or whatever it is, right? But the people that I was talking to, like on my Facebook page the other day, we'll get to that in a little bit, I'm sure. They didn't like it when I said that your divine masculine won't awaken. And then you ask them a few questions, and immediately all they got are semantics or, well, science can't prove anything that's mystical. Yeah, actually it can. And it is. You just don't like what I'm saying because I'm proving that you're not a twin flame. And also your divine masculine first of all, is not your divine masculine because you're not twin flames. Second of all, did not have a spontaneous spiritual awakening, an involuntary kundalini or becoming psychic or something like that. Well, in this video, Gregory Shaitan says flat out that this higher field of information that exists in the universe is mind. He comes right out and says it. Let's cut to that part.
Maybe since the Greece of Pericles.
So at the end of the day, what do you think about the possibility that the universe just is information and that everything is a computation?
Well, this would say the universe is mind. This is just a replay of a new version of old ideas. This would say that the universe is mind, not matter. Quantum physics already almost says the universe built out of thoughts or mind. And this is an issue that deep philosophers thought about. We may think now that it's obsolete, but we've reinvented it, damn it. That's exactly.
Okay. This is what I tell my students. This is what I figured out about science. Science started with philosophy, and even your most ardent, table-pounding atheist scientist like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who, by the way, is a fucking charlatan, he has not made any real contributions to science. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's just a talking head. He was allowed to be popular because he's such a skeptic and he's an atheist and the system likes that. Well, anyway, but even somebody like him realizes that science came from philosophy. And then one day people decided to get organized and make this into something that you can actually prove things with. It's a methodology. And the reason that science is now pointing inexorably to mind is because people have been trying to figure out the double slit experiment for a long, long time. And somebody finally came up with the idea that, well, maybe it's because it's not random. Maybe something is choosing when the particles are going to appear. And you just watched this guy come right out and tell you everything that Hermes Trismegistus was saying thousands of years ago. Watch this. Oh, by the way, honorable mention, Christoph Cook. If you want to go check this guy out, Christoph Cook, if you want to Google him, there's his name, Christoph Cook. Is information the foundation of reality? And they're talking about information realism in this video. So information realism, you guys, is saying that the physical part of the universe is attached to the emptiness of space. The emptiness of space is full of information, which sounds like an abstract concept, and it is. It's a mind. It's a higher mind, right? And that higher mind is what physical reality is attached to. It's the information is the substrate of physical reality, right? A substrate. Like if you think of the frame of a car, well, the frame of that car, everything gets attached to it. You can't you can't have the engine, the wheels, the transmission, the seats, none of it without that substrate. So physical reality comes from information, mind. Where did the mind come from? Consciousness. So that flow through that scientific research, people like, again, Christoph Cook, Gregory Shaitan, Lothar Schaefer, I'm going to show you him in a minute. And of course, in our neck of the woods, people that would consider themselves spiritual, you got Greg Braden or Joe Dispenza, right? People like that. The flow through is the same. A physicist, a lot of them are going to say that this higher mind of information came from the singularity, the Big Bang happened from the consciousness, from the singularity, right? And then that mind forms physical reality. Well, that's where psychic ability comes from. That's where that comes from. So here's this gal again. Somebody doing legitimate controlled scientific research on the topic of psychic ability, paranormal phenomenon. By the way, as always, guys, we're also doing a live Q&A. I see some good questions in the chat, so I'll do some freebies here in a few minutes. But super chats, stop the show. Super chats, stop the show. If you want to get your question answered, that's the way, my friends. All right. But I'll do some free ones. Julia Mossbridge, Dr. Julia Mossbridge is an American cognitive neuroscientist, author, and educator who works on exceptional human performance, which means people that have out-of-body experiences or psychic experiences, exceptional experiences, right? Exceptional human performance, remote viewing, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance, telepathy, those types of things, right? Including psi effects, right? So psychic, notably on precognition and presentiment, what you and I call intuition. She is Senior Distinguished Fellow in Human Potential at the Center for the Future Mind at Florida Atlantic University, member of the Loomis Innovation Council at the Nonpartisan Stimson Center, affiliate professor in the Department of Biophysics and Physics at the University of San Diego, and founder and board chair of the nonprofit Institute for Love and Time. She gets money to do controlled research on real psychic ability, verifiable psychic ability, not the fake stuff that I got to argue with, some new ager or something on Facebook. Not sorry. You got to argue with somebody on Facebook about their twin flame, divine masculine, is awakening. And then you find out, you go to their Facebook page, and it's some new ager who was already a new ager. That's all. It's always this. It's always this, you guys. My divine masculine did awaken, and then you find out it was somebody who already was into crystals. And look at this. I'm an Arcadia architect, mystic, and spiritual counsel, right? And they go, bullshit, I just experienced it with my husband. Don't buy this absolute bullshit. And I called him out. I go, you were a spiritual person before you even met your person. Meeting a real twin flame is exactly what causes you to experience an involuntary, spontaneous spiritual awakening in the first place. 10 years ago, what twin flames are, how to tell if you are a twin flame, and how it works was well understood. New Agers, you, hijacked twin flames, and now everyone is a twin flame, even though they're not. Everyone. So they want to be special. It's an identity to them. So they're very attached to the identity of being able to say that they are a twin flame. Wait a minute. That's the exact opposite of spirituality. What are all the great masters going to tell you? Like the Buddha, or Paramahansa Yogananda, or Krishnamurti, or Eckhart Tolle. Jesus, one of the most misunderstood spiritual teachers of all time. He said, I and the Father are one. He also said, these things and more shall you also do. What do these guys say? Krishnamurti, Yogananda? They're going to tell you, you are consciousness. You are not an identity. These are the big names in spirituality, you guys. Not just some random new ager on Facebook with crystals and, I'm part of the Archon Council or whatever, right? What did they say? Yeah, the Arcadia archetype. I'm a mystic. Yeah, right? This is an identity. It's a personality type to them, which is the exact opposite of spirituality, according to the masters. You guys, this guy right here, Paramahansa Yogananda, he performed something called Mahasamadhi. You know what Mahasamadhi is? where you voluntarily leave your body. You do the thing called die, but I'm not talking about suicide. I'm talking about the day before he told somebody, I'm going to Maha Samadhi tomorrow. And then at the table the next night at dinner, he collapsed. And he was gone. He left his body. Right? He didn't have to shoot himself or anything like that. So it's not self-deleting. And the coroner, of course, they had to explain it somehow. They had to put something on the death certificate. So they said, well, it was heart failure. Right. His heart stopped. Exactly. Paramahansa Yogananda. What is he going to tell you? You're not a personality. You're not the ego mind. You're not an identity. But to these people, that's exactly what it is. And what could it be? What did I do that was so bad? What did I do? What did old Kurt do? That scoundrel. Well, it all started here. Let me scroll down a little bit. It all started here. The divine masculine in a twin flame connection. And again, it's energy. It's not gender. Those are just labels, guys. And let me just explain that part really quick. I think the reason that the gender labels happened is because almost 90% of the so-called chaser, that's you guys, right, are women. Me, yours truly, Kurt Johnson, New World All-Star, I am the so-called divine feminine twin flame, right? So it's not really based on gender. It's energy, right? It's this. Again, it's physics, right? Now, why is it almost 90% women? I don't know. But if you look at the channel analytics for my YouTube channel, it's 87.6% or something like that are women. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because guys don't like to talk about their feelings or something. I don't know, guys. So I think that's where the gender labels came from. But they're just labels, guys. It's not really gender. It's energy. You have more energy. You are the push twin. And again, 8 years ago when I started, this was well understood. This was well understood, you guys, that it's physics. Anyway, continuing this here on my Facebook page, it said, the divine masculine in a twin flame connection will never have a spiritual awakening. A real spiritual awakening comes with Kundalini, becoming psychic, out of body experiences, divine oneness with the universe, heart chakra opening, and so on. Divine masculine will not experience these things. The only thing they do is respond to your energy. And again, I guess to be fair, I should have said a spontaneous spiritual awakening instead of just a spiritual awakening. Like I said a few minutes ago, I had a political awakening. It was voluntary. I did. When I figured out about the oligarch banker families and all that kind of shit, right? In my 20s. And it was very compelling and I felt very drawn to it. And I'm a different person now and I think differently because of it. Or when I was 20, I had a voluntary spiritual awakening where I felt this pull or this calling to meditate and to learn about spirituality, right? But what I'm talking about, how to tell it's really a twin flame, is an involuntary spiritual awakening. Involuntary. Again, this involuntary, spontaneous. Again, linked below. If you're watching in Spanish, there's a link below in the video description. English, same thing. It's involuntary. It's spontaneous, right? And here's this person claiming that both her and her husband experienced it. And then you go to their Facebook page and find out, no, they're going to retreats, you guys. They are going to retreats together and trying to learn how to do it, right? They're doing it manually. You can do that. You can go to like a retreat or something, or talk to some kind of an expert or something like that. And they will teach you how to manually, on purpose, cause yourself to experience a voluntary Kundalini, like this woman that I was showing you earlier, right? She teaches people how to do it, and she's very good at it. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about involuntarily, spontaneously having a Kundalini awakening like this guy, right? It just happens. And yeah, this woman, by the way, when we were done with our interaction, she called me a, what did she call me? A twat muffin. She called me a twat muffin, and she said, you're a twat muffin. Have fun with your healing journey. That's what she said verbatim. You're a twat muffin. Have fun with your healing journey. So typical like bullying, usually, I remember this when I was in grade school, the bullies, they would call you a name, like a filthy name, right? They would call you a filthy name, and then they would claim that you're like messed up, or you're broken somehow, right? You're dumb, and you need to fix that, Kurt, right? So exactly the same thing. And if you go to her Facebook page and look at her pictures, she was a very aggressive looking person, I should add. Yeah, not good. Not good. Next one. Yeah, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. Yeah. Next one. She goes, I went through this and I'm still going through this. This process started as soon as we got married. Now, wait a minute. She got married and then she had this happen. And then I looked at her Facebook page, her Facebook profile. Once again, mother, wife, shamanic healing practitioner. It's all new agey stuff. This is why I'm telling you, you guys. You will see this kind of stuff all day long on Facebook. It's almost always this, or someone that's just obsessed. It's somebody who already was a spiritual person. To them, it's an identity. It's an identity. They just want to be one of the cool kids, right? They want to be able to say, I'm a twin flame. Look at me. I'm cool, right? Right. Okay, back to this gal, Julia Mossbridge. Again, I read you her credentials. I'll read them again in case we clip this video. Dr. Julia Mossbridge is an American cognitive neuroscientist, author, and educator who works on exceptional human performance. In other words, people that have these kinds of spiritual gifts, telepathy, psychic ability, right? Exceptional human performance. That's the official like industry lingo, right? Exceptional human performance, including psi effects, right? Psychic, notably on precognition and presentiment. She is Senior Distinguished Fellow in Human Potential at the Center for the Future Mind at Florida Atlantic University, member of the Loomis Innovation Council at the Nonpartisan Stimson Center, affiliate professor in the Department of Biophysics and Physics at the University of San Diego, and founder and board chair of the nonprofit Institute for Love and Time. Let's see what she has to say.
I think there's actually two mechanisms for precognition, and both are active. And one is this sending information back to yourself. You don't have to be conscious of it, I don't think. You could send, like, because of the presentiment research, which we'll get into, suggests that you don't actually have to consciously send the information. I say, okay, tell my past self this. It just happens naturally, unconsciously for the most part. And I guess it can happen consciously. And then the other one is where the universe is giving you the information in a way where it of universal consciousness, or what I like to call Puck, like the Midsummer Night's Dream character. So it's sort of a trickster, can get in there and decide, okay, I'm going to give you this little bit of information. Here's a dream. Here's a vision. Here's a feeling. And you got nothing to do with it. You never experience the event in the future to send back in time to yourself. I think.
Yeah. This is very real, guys. Very real. Look at what Lothar Schaefer has to say about ultimate reality consciousness. Lothar Schaefer, by the way, I'll show you his bio. He's a pretty well-known physicist.
I think that consciousness is basically an unexplainable cosmic phenomenon. If the universe is conscious, then it is not amazing that it emerges in our mind, in our own consciousness.
No, I agree with that, but that's a...
So this guy, the interviewer, his name is Robert Lawrence Kuhn. He runs Closer to Truth. And he's got access. I don't know how he knows all these people, you guys. He's got access to top physicists, mathematicians, paranormal researcher. Look at this. Roger Penrose.
Roger, I did my doctorate work in neurophysiology, and the assumption at the time was that if we're ever going to explain consciousness, it has to be
like, how do you get Roger Penrose's phone number? Holy shit, dude. That's what I'm saying, guys. You can prove this shit. It's not 1926, it's 2026. Here's an interview. I'll link this for you in the chat, guys. Lothar Schaefer, the last guy, has a little chat with Eckhart Tolle. And it's Eckhart talking for the first, where's the full interview? Well, this is only a 3-minute clip, but you can just go to the Eckhart Tolle channel. Here, let me just do that. I'll find the link for you guys. Let's see. There it is, this one. Yeah. Okay. So Lothar Schaefer comes out at about 13 minutes. So just fast forward. Here, I'll put the link in the chat. It's the second link. Whoops. Use this one. There you go. Yeah, Lothar comes out at about 13 minutes. And this was the first time I ever heard about this. I don't like that guy. That the universe was a higher mind. And it was just a few months after this that I found, or should I say, it found me, Ancient Hermetic Philosophy. There's a book about ancient Hermetic philosophy written by the 3 initiates. And it finds you when you're ready for it. And I listened to this video, and Lothar, again, a very highly respected physicist. Yeah, he passed away just a few years ago. But brilliant, brilliant man. And it was in this interview that Lothar described the emptiness of space as a field of information. And Eckhart Tolle, you could see his ears perk up. And he goes, information? And when I saw that, I was like, wait, I know what he's thinking, Eckhart. It's like thought. Like the emptiness of space is filled with thought. And then I went down that rabbit hole. I found Gregory Shaitan and all these other scientists. And that's exactly what they're saying. We think the universe is a higher mind. And Hermes Trismegistus, you guys, thousands of years ago, he said that flat out. The universe is mind. And now physics appears to be offering some pretty credible evidence that this stuff is real. Now, you would think that the people that apparently I have to argue with on Facebook all day long that aren't actually spiritual, to them, spirituality is a personality type. They're not twin flames. They'll call you a twat muffin, apparently. You would think they would be rooting for science, going, woo, yeah, go, awesome. You can prove this shit. We don't have to make stuff up about it anymore. That's awesome. Nope. I got comment after comment after comment from phonies that didn't meet a twin flame. On my post here, I deleted them. Because, I mean, they're just so toxic. I delete them. I do. I try to talk to them. They won't have it, you guys. But they would keep saying things like, well, you can't define a spiritual awakening. Yes, you can. You can define it. An involuntary, spontaneous spiritual awakening. So I went here. I posted again the next day when I saw how many people were, just this post got, I don't know how many impressions, but last time I checked, it was like 35,000. And so here I was like, all right, I'm going to be specific, a spontaneous spiritual awakening. And they didn't like that. And then I said, all right, I'm going to write a scholarly article about it. I'm going to write a scholarly article about it. And I'm going to post it on my Facebook page. And that's what this is. And I even cite sources. I break it down rationally, right? And they didn't care. They didn't want to hear it. They still were insisting, you don't know what you're talking about, even though obviously I do. And they would also say things like, yeah, you can't use science to prove, things like God or consciousness, or that there's psychic ability, or study Kundalini. You guys, they hook people up to EKG machines and put them in CAT scanners and look at stuff like that. That's how the Heart Math Institute, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure, yeah, they put like a Buddhist monk into a CAT scanner and told him, do your thing. And this is one of the ways that they started to develop the heart-brain coherence technique that I talked about earlier. And I teach it to my students in my twin flame coaching program, right? There's a mountain of scientific research. I've been spending the last hour and a half showing it to you guys. I've just barely scratched the surface. I could go on and on and on for days. And again, they don't know what science is. Apparently, these people, it's a methodology, guys. And they're going to just invalidate by making semantics arguments. Again, well, you can't say what Kundalini is. You're not allowed to do that. Again, why do we have words? Why are words invented in the first place? To describe existing phenomenon. That's what. Why have a word? Again, like the wind. Before there was even people, there was wind. People came along, invented language, and somebody said, what should we call that? When the sky is blowing, oh, we're going to call it wind, right? Same thing with like Kundalini or psychic ability. Kundalini. If you really want to know what Kundalini is, go to the library, guys, and get a book. Get a book published before 1970. The 1970s is when a lot of this new agey stuff started taking over. Another tactic that these people will try, this person here, Oh, yeah, it was this person. This person right here, I go, you were both already spiritual people when you met. Again, this is her Facebook profile. Mother, wife, shamanic healing practitioner, right? It's an identity to them. It's a personality type, right? She just wants to be important. She wants to have a sense of identity. I go, you were both already spiritual people. And notice I put the word spiritual in quotation marks because, again, what is spiritualism? Spiritualism is the release of identity. Says who? The masters like Yogananda, who left his body, Mahasamadhi, not self-deletion. They called it heart failure, the coroner. He chose to leave. I'm leaving this physical plane, right? Yogananda, Krishnamurti, Ramana Maharshi, Eckhart Tolle, Alan Watts, Ram Dass, the big names in spirituality. And the big names in spirituality, they all say the same thing. You are not an identity. You're not this collection of self-concept ideas, emotions, experiences. You're not your mind, right? Excuse me. Your consciousness. That's spiritualism. Who are you going to listen to? Random New Agers on Facebook or, the Buddha? I think you're going to listen to the Buddha. He's going to tell you. The Buddha, he talked about it all the time. You're not this identity. You're this timeless essence. Anyway, look at what I said to this person. And I don't remember exactly what her response was, but when she responded to me, she said something along the lines of, you're being toxic and mean. Or yeah, she called me arrogant. She called me arrogant, right? So claiming that I'm being toxic and mean. But listen to what I said. I said, you both were already spiritual people when you met and decided that you were twin flames. Meeting a twin flame is exactly what causes you to spiritually awaken. You're not twin flames. And to this, she said, I'm arrogant. Why is that? Because they have an identity. This is one of the ways you can spot these people, guys. They're not twin flames. Somebody who believes that they are this mental identity, when you start to poke holes in this conceptual identity, they get hurt. Why? Well, because the conceptual identity is part emotional experience. And so that's their language. To them, feeling is everything. Emotion is everything. Logic be damned. To the language of emotionalism, empiricism sounds like hate. Yes, exactly. You knew exactly what I was about to say. To the language of emotionalism, empiricism sounds like hate. But I didn't say anything mean or arrogant. All I said was you're not twin flames. You are already spiritual people. By the way, guys, another thing that I figured out, they do not like it when you call them New Agers. New Agers? That's like a mean word now. That's like a put down now. I figured, like, I've noticed that. Like, you call them a New Ager, they get offended. And it used to be like a great honor to call yourself a New Ager. I remember in the 1990s when I chose to have a voluntary spiritual awakening, it was in the 1990s. New Age was all the rage, right? And it's been exposed as such a fraud now because of people like me talking about genuine spiritualism, the masters, Yogananda, Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle, the modern day Buddha, in the first chapter, this is the best beginner's book. If you want to get your twin flame to come back, all my students, I have them start with this book. It's called The Power of Now. The Power of Now. Available in every language. Every language. Go get it, guys. First chapter, chapter 1 is called You Are Not Your Mind. And in this chapter, he starts explaining you're not an identity. You're this formless essence of consciousness. That's who you really are. And as a matter of fact, chapter 2 is called Consciousness, the Way Out of Pain. Right? So people over the last, 30 years have realized what a bunch of phony baloney New Age is, how pretentious it is. And the New Agers, I think they kind of know that. And so now, if you call them a New Agers, they get really mad. It's not so nice to be called New Age anymore. New Age is a personality type, guys, and that's not spiritual. And these people are not twin flames. They are not. And again, 8 years ago when I started, what a twin flame was, how it all works, and how to tell if you really met one, it was very well understood, you guys. But also 8 years ago was right around the time that the New Agers started to hijack the whole thing. And again, what are we talking about? You and this person are the same soul. Now, I'm going to come back to that because there's two things. I got a super chat. There's two important things that you can experience with your person that are specific to twin flames. So one major part of how do you tell if it's your twin flame, of course, as always, is the very drastic and involuntary forced spiritual awakening, spontaneous spiritual awakening. Again, it's not voluntary. It's like the police come and get you and make you do it. Right? Again, English, Spanish, link in the video description if you want to go check it out. So that's one thing. And anything can trigger one of these. Lots of things can. A near-death experience, the death of a loved one, a terminal illness, life circumstances, right? Eckhart Tolle, he had a involuntary, spontaneous spiritual awakening, but it was life circumstances. And in the introduction of his book, he talks about Kundalini. He doesn't call it that, but if I read it, I'll tell you exactly what parts it is. And then he talks about the intuition that he got in his chest and like a 2.5 year long Satori. I would love that. Oh my God. But there's two things that can happen with your twin flame that are specific to twin flames. Give me 1 second. I was just sneezing and I gotta blow my nose. Hold on 1 second. All right, we got a super chat. KD, thank you for your super chat. I remember having horrible insomnia when I first met DF. I think you mean DM. But no other emotions. I still do. I did feel his energy once he came back to speak to me, but I was so drained by it. It scared us both. Yeah, maybe. I would need more information about what you felt. This is actually a really good example of what a paranormal researcher does. And I am not, but I realize that when I give people a twin flame test, maybe I should do a couple live on the air. Maybe I should, yeah. Hey, that's a brilliant idea. That's a brilliant idea. I could do like a raffle. Let me think about that. I would want to get somebody that's not a twin flame, though. They would most certainly have to be somebody that, right? And somebody who is a twin flame. But the people that are not twin flames are harder for me to find because I'm so good at explaining this stuff and I'm so thorough and I always talk about the true signs. So yeah, because I would want that contrast. I would want you guys to see somebody answering no to some of the questions that I'm asking. Well, anyway, one of the things that you have to do is you have to like drill down into people's responses, because they'll say, I felt his energy, like KD here. And I've had experiences with my twin flame where I got that very powerful intuition, psychic intuition, this knowing, right? And I was already very familiar with that because I have had a million of those since the awakening. And to date, over half of those have already come true, because usually intuition is going to be something about future events, but it could also be information about other people or something that's true for you, right? It's usually one of those three things: information about the future, information about other people, or something that's true for you, right? And the ones where it's information about the future always comes true every time. And I've just gotten so used to that you know what intuition feels like when you have it. And the really strong ones that you get in your heart, those ones, it feels like deja vu. It's just the information is different. With deja vu, it's I've done this before, or I've been here before. And with intuition, it's information about the future, information about somebody else, or something that's true for you. And yeah, Elizabeth, I know. Maybe I should invite one of those people. You know, some of the people, I know they're not twin flames and they're in there. Anyway, continuing, intuition is one of those three things, and then deja vu is characteristically I've been here before, or I've done this before. But both of them have that very strong, intense, weird, eerie knowing. It's this strange knowing, and it like overtakes you. It'll stop you in your tracks, and you're like, whoa, have I done this before? And immediately the mind starts asking questions about the deja vu. So you'll say things like, did I do this yesterday? Did I do it last week? This is deja vu. Maybe I did it a year ago, right? Or maybe, I don't know, what the hell, right? So that's all thinking. Notice, for me to explain those thoughts to you, I have to talk, because it's all thinking. This is deja vu. Did this happen last Tuesday? Did I really do this before? This is deja vu. Blah, 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 blah. Thoughts. That's the mind. But the mind is saying those things or asking those questions because it is clear that this weird, eerie knowing is not coming from the mind. It's not an emotion, and it's not a thought. That's why the mind is confused by it. Do you get it? So this is kind of how I teach my students intuition. I kind of explain that whole part to them. And then I go, okay, intuition, and you can get faint intuitive hits that are very faint, and you can get them that come in other forms. This is just the most frequent type of intuition, the type that I am explaining right now. But there are other types, okay? This one comes from the heart, and it feels characteristically like deja vu. It's got that same character of feel to it. However, the information is different. Now, KD, I did have intuition about my twin flame where I felt like her as a person, like who she is as a person. And like her personality, right? Some kind of a characteristic. Like, what is it like to be her? What would I call that, right? If I was in her shoes. And I remember too, it was powerful. So I've had that. It wasn't necessarily was she happy or sad, but that's not to say that you could not know that. But this is the kind of question that I would ask in a twin flame test. So if somebody says, I feel his energy, I would go, well, describe that. What did that feel like? And I would start to drill down and ask clarifying questions. I've had people tell me they had Kundalini, and then you don't tell them anything about it. What you do is you start describing it. Wrong. I misspoke. Nope. Correction. You definitely do not start describing it. You let them start describing it. You definitely let them start describing it. You don't want to do that. So I would want to see what kind of answer they would give me. Right? And I've gotten them, you guys. I've got people where it was a no. It was a no. You're not, this person is not your twin flame. I've gotten people where it's a maybe. There's people, several people that I told that they are eligible for a retest because I couldn't really fully tell. And none of them have contacted me yet. So I don't know. Maybe they didn't get any of the other indicators. But if I give you like a low enough ranking, then I'll go, I can't tell. But most of the time when I give somebody a twin flame test, it's 100%. And they've been watching my YouTube videos for a while. And people, they'll even watch my 7 signs video, the 3-hour long 7 signs. And they still don't quite understand everything. I don't know. Some people, they just don't get it. It just doesn't make sense in their mind. The things that I'm explaining, even though I'm asking them the same questions. So I don't know. KD, it's possible. I'd have to ask you some clarifying questions. Here's another question somebody had in the chat from Blue Sky 333. Is it possible to have all the symptoms of meeting your twin flame? I won't go into details, but still not have met them, even though everything feels like it's happening. So are you talking about you'll have to let me know in the chat, like you guys met online or something? You haven't met in person though? Is that what's going on? And yeah, spiritual gangster, I don't disagree with you. I don't know though. I mean, I'd have to talk to her because there is the whole dark night of the soul thing. But yeah, Blue Sky 333, let me know. Let me know. Is it possible to have all the symptoms without meeting them? Well, you have to actually at least like have had a romantic infatuation with them, right? So at minimum, you saw them on a Zoom meeting, you had a couple phone calls with them, something like that. The answer is yes. You just haven't met in person, maybe. Maybe that's what's going on. But yeah, Blue Sky, let me know in the chat if that's what you're talking about. Um, and meanwhile, let me see if there's any other questions that we got in the chat here. Yeah. KD, I don't think so. Let's suppose that you guys are twin flames. Your mind is just focused on him. It's not that he's visiting you. There's no him. If you guys are twin flames, then there's not two of you. You are one with your twin flame. And the thing about this experience with a twin flame that's so difficult to navigate is your mind like automatically wants to be obsessed with your twin flame. And there's a metaphysical reason for that. Actually, it's the twin flame push pull. So your mind, it'll give you dreams about your twin flame. It'll give you like weird sensations in your body. So it's not him doing that to you. It's your mind trying to keep you focused on him. The mind actually derives its primary sustenance from the soul. You could think of the soul, which is primarily consciousness. You could think of it like a gas tank, and the mind is an engine. And one way actually to observe this mechanism is meditation. So those of you that have been meditating for a while, you can attest. All you're doing when you meditate, you can either focus on mind, thinking and emotion, or you can focus on your five senses. What you can see, hear, feel, right? And when you focus on your five senses, it puts you in the present moment. You can meditate, right? And that's the whole practice of meditation, looking away from monkey mind over and over and over again, right? So when you meditate enough, and I mean like you're meditating daily a couple times a day for a month or two, you'll notice your mind slows down and it's quieter. Well, yeah, because you took its fuel source away. So consciousness, the soul, is the fuel source of the mind, and you and your twin flame are the same soul. Also, the mind is externalized, so it likes to get what it thinks it needs from out there somewhere, from outside, because it's separation. The mind is separation. That's what that word really is. And here's another person who is the same soul as you. Your mind wants a hit of that shit. It really does. And actually, this makes me think even more that that's exactly what's going on, because your next comment, you said, I was never interested in him is the thing. My recent dreams of him came out of nowhere. Right. Right. Your mind wants to stay in control. So it's going to trick you into getting you focused on him again because it wants a hit of that energy. See how that works? We got another super chat. Gokul Krishna, hello, sir. Thank you for the super chat. Can there be more than one twin flame? Yes. And a couple people in the chat were asking about that. They said, I don't understand how your twin flame could be one of your past lives. Somebody was asking also about karma. And I don't know how you would prove any of that. Where is it? Let me just show you guys this other question that somebody was asking in the chat. Yeah, Here it is. They said, if the so-called divine masculine twin flame is me from 10 lifetimes ago and meeting me changed their karma, I don't think it changes their karma. But continuing, meeting me changed their karma. Would that alter the next 9 lifetimes, including mine? Could I cease to exist in this experience? Right. And maybe it does change their karma. I don't know. I guess I could be wrong about that. But this is one of those mind bender questions, Jewel, that physicists argue about, like how time works. If you were existing on a higher plane beyond time, because the thing with time, you guys, that everybody kind of realizes is not that one. This one. No. This one. There we go. So this big circle on your screen is this higher plane that you go to when you do the thing that we call die. What does science, conventional science, tell us about time? Well, there's no time on higher planes, right? And so Gokul Krishna, this is relevant to your question. So what do you where do you go when you die? A higher plane. What does physics say about higher planes? There's no time. So all of these red dots represent different moments in the physical world where we seem to experience linear time. Yes. But if you could do the thing that we call die, you go up to this higher plane where there is no time, you could access all points in time simultaneously. And again, that's what conventional physics tells us about how time works. It's not that there is or isn't any such thing as time, it's that it's relative. It depends on your perspective. And where have we heard the word relative before? Einstein's general theory of relativity. That's where, right? Here, I'll put the Spanish one. If I got any Spanish speakers watching a clip right now. So present day, the 2 dots at the bottom, that's you and your other self, twin flame, right? Now, what if future you is interacting with past you, right? Like, think of that movie Back to the Future where Biff brings that sports almanac back to the 1950s to make himself into a millionaire. And then future Biff goes back to the future timeline and he dies. He like evaporates, right? This is a paradox because a lot of scientists are going to tell you, well, it's just an alternate universe. If the divine masculine is me from 10 lifetimes ago and meeting me changed their karma, would that alter the next 9 lifetimes? Right. So you're here living your life, Jewel, doing what you've always done, but meeting them changed their future, which changed your past. But how could it have changed my past if I did not already do those things from this place that I am now in time? Right? That's the riddle. That's the question. Because if I'm changing the past now, then why is it that the things I have experienced aren't any different? Well, maybe it's because you're thinking in linear terms and all of these things are true. It's not either or, it's both and. I say to you again, it's not either or, it's both and. You did change the past. That's why you are existing in the way that you are existing now. That's what a physicist would say to try to settle any kind of seemingly paradox or contradiction. This is why, like Julia Mossbridge earlier, watch this. Remember this? Where did it go? Remember this, where she talked about your future self is communicating with your past self.
There's actually two mechanisms for precognition, and both are active. And one is this sending information back to yourself. You don't have to be conscious of it, I don't think. You could send, like, because of the presentiment research, which we'll get into, suggests that you don't actually have to consciously send the information. I say, okay, tell my past self this. It just happens naturally, unconsciously for the most part. And I guess it can happen consciously. And then the other one.
Okay. Once again, in case you're watching a clip, Julia Mossbridge, Dr. Julia Mossbridge is an American cognitive neuroscientist, author, and educator who works on exceptional human performance, including psychic effects, notably on precognition and presentiment. She is Senior Distinguished Fellow in Human Potential at the Center for the Future Mind at Florida Atlantic University, member of the Loomis Innovation Council, and at the nonpartisan Stimson Center, affiliate professor in the Department of Biophysics and Physics at University of San Diego, and founder and board chair of the nonprofit Institute for Love and Time. That's a mouthful. Those are some fucking awesome accolades, but she's kind of talking about the same thing you're talking about, Jewel. Right? And again, to the fella who gave the super chat, this is relevant. Gokul. This is absolutely relevant. When I was 19, when I was 19, I had this sense that I'm supposed to be doing something bigger, right? I was working at some job. I was working at a grocery store or something, or I was a bank teller, and I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it. And I wanted to escape so bad. I hated the fact that I had to like be a worker bee in the system. And I was like dreading it. Like, this is my life. But then at the same time, because I was meditating a lot, I had a voluntary spiritual experience. Voluntary, right? No Kundalini or anything like that, but there was this sense, and I suppose it was some kind of intuition from my future self, because I was like, I just know I'm here to do something bigger. And I felt this calling. Like, I remember even like driving around at night. This went on for months in search of something. What is it? And I was drawing all of these weird diagrams like sacred geometry. I didn't know what I was drawing. I just started drawing things, trying to crack the code of the musical scale, right? Like the music of the spheres or something like that. And I don't know. That was a weird experience. That went on for months. And there was even a psychic that told me one time, he said, I see you building big buildings, big structures, big things, but you need to resole an old pair of shoes first. And now what he said makes perfect sense. So I don't know. Maybe future Kurt was sending data back to Kurt in the past. Maybe. Possibly. I don't know. But this is twin flames, guys. So Gokul, can there be more than one twin flame? Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, your twin flame is one of your past lives. It's just reincarnation. So from a higher perspective, again, the higher self, it can see all of these times. When you reincarnate, you don't have to go into the future each time. Some people, they have this impression that when you reincarnate, that in your next life, you're going to go into the future in your next life. And you don't have to do it that way. Actually, you can go into the past every time that you reincarnate. And what you're looking at on your screen is the reason why. Here's another way of looking at it. If you want to look at it in a linear kind of way, this, right? And this is, again, I was always, when I first found out what was going on here with twin flames, I was trying to figure out, why is it that your twin flame runs away? This is one of the two things that we're going to talk about that I mentioned earlier, like the paranormal things that can happen that are specific to twin flames, right? So I realized that it's physics that makes your twin flame run, and you can physically feel it. And I'll talk about that in a little bit here, Gokul. So stick around for that. So it's not psychology. It's a physics reason. It's the twin flame push pull, right? And so I've known since almost the very beginning, over 8 years ago, when I was on my twin flame runner chaser shit, right? That it was physics. I knew that it was this push pull, not some psychological reason like, well, she's an avoidant or whatever, right? And maybe your twin flame is an avoidant, but that's not why they run from you. They might do that to everybody else for that reason, but you have a different reason why they run, which means if you shut down this push pull, they come back and they stay with you. You're going to get different treatment. If they really are an avoidant, they'll avoid everybody else, but they won't avoid you anymore. If you shut down this push pull, they'll want to be around you no matter what they got going on psychologically. So I've known that there was this push pull, but I could never figure out why. Well, one day I was thinking about, maybe in my next life, I would like to reincarnate back into the 1930s or the 1940s. I could kind of avoid the draft, right? I don't want to get drafted in Vietnam, and I want to hang out and enjoy the 1960s hippie shit, because that sounds like fun. And I could even grow up in the 50s. I could be like a 50s kid. That'd be badass. Wait a minute. Oh, shit. Wait a minute. You can do that. You absolutely can do that. That is how time works. That is how reincarnation works. And this isn't anything controversial or new under the sun at all. Spiritual people have known about this for ages. It's just, I had that aha moment. I said, wait a minute. The other thing about reincarnation that everybody knows is that you evolve and grow. Consciousness increases with each life lived, right? So if you're looking in the upper right-hand corner, what does it say? It says consciousness grows. Consciousness increases with each life lived, right? That's pretty well accepted, pretty well established, reincarnation, right? So I'm trying to figure out where the energy comes from. I know, and I have known for a long time, that there is the push-pull. Why? And it's not quantum entanglement, by the way. People that use quantum entanglement to explain twin flames, all that tells me is they don't know what quantum entanglement is, right? Or the soul splits. It's the soul splits. Yeah, you know where that came from? Plato and Aristophanes. And Plato, he wrote a literary work called Symposium. And in Symposium, he talks about, yes, the two lovers were reunited again. And it was as if the soul split. And they were reunited again. And they were lovers. And they love each other so much. And right? It's this passionate romance. Plato and Aristophanes never talk about the dark night of the soul, obsessive thinking, the desperation. You're at the end of your rope. You'll do anything to make the pain stop. Also, this loss of identity, during the dark night of the soul. Like, I don't know who I am anymore. This sense of meaninglessness. And then after that, you come out of it, and it's a whole fucking unbelievable certified flurry of paranormal and metaphysical experiences, which again, now you have third-party scientific research from prestigious universities and institutions talking about the event of an involuntary, forced, spontaneous spiritual awakening. Again, English, Spanish, link in the video description down below if you want to go check it out. This is from prestigious universities and institutions. These are psychologists and college professors. This is peer-reviewed scientific literature talking about spontaneous spiritual awakenings. Are subjective experiences characterized by a sudden sense of direct contact, union. What? What is the word union doing in there? Yeah, maybe it's because that word doesn't mean what you think it means. Or a complete non-dual merging experience of oneness with a perceived ultimate reality, the universe, God, or the divine. Also, spontaneous Kundalini awakenings, right? And this is a very well understood phenomenon. And all these guys are doing are endeavoring to research and understand a phenomenon that spiritual teachers were already talking about for ages. Long time. And again, I'm not talking about a voluntary, where you choose to do it, spiritual awakening, where you feel like very drawn to spiritual topics. No, I'm talking about like when the police come and get you. If the police come and arrest you, you're gonna do it. Whether you want to or not, you're coming with us. A forced spiritual awakening. It's involuntary, spontaneous Kundalini. And again, most of the people that met a twin flame, they weren't spiritual people to start with. The vast majority of us. So Plato never talked about that. Aristophanes never talked about that. They never talked about these things. So it's not the soul splits. That's where that came from. And again, quantum entanglement, you start with already two particles. It's already two. It's not one that split. You put two particles close together and they become ensnared. They become entangled. That's a better explanation for soulmates. So these types of explanations like the soul splits or quantum entanglement, you're trying really hard to shove a square into a round hole and it doesn't fit. However, that your twin flame is one of your past lives is a very simple explanation. It's just reincarnation. There's no time from higher planes. If you could go back again and again and reincarnate into the past, and you have, there could be 20 of you walking around out here because you've been born in all these different years, right? Somebody who was born in 1988 and somebody who was born in 1975, yeah, you could have a romantic connection. You totally could. And most of you have significant age gaps. That's why I picked these 2 years, 1988 or 1975, right? Or it could be switched. You could be younger than them, right? So about half of you, I've taken surveys on this, about half of you guys, there's a significant age gap of at least 10 years or more. And the other half don't have an age gap, which is totally fine. It's all random. There could be just a couple of years difference. But this is twin flames, guys. Not only does it prove, or I should say, maybe prove isn't the word, but this theory explains how you guys could be the same soul. It explains the push-pull, why your twin flame runs. And it's a very simple explanation, which also happens to comply with very basic scientific laws. It's a very simple, basic, not controversial, not pushing the science a little bit. I mean, the only thing maybe that you're pushing is whether or not there's reincarnation. You know, over 60% of the world's population recognizes the existence of reincarnation. By the way, I have people ask me where they can get a copy of this book. Good luck finding it. I found this at one of those witchy stores here in Denver. You know, they got crystals and tarot cards and books and all the good stuff like that, right? And this was a used book that was there. It was very expensive and it fell apart. Gosh darn it. I need to get one of those long staplers and redo it. I finally taped the cover, but I need to get one of those staplers. Anyway, yeah, this is just a book about like information about reincarnation that's been taken out of the Bible. They took stuff out of the Bible? No. But yeah, you don't need this book. It's just interesting. But thanks to yours truly, you're never going to find a copy of this book. Like all the ones that you used to be able to find on eBay, they all got bought up by my viewers. Just read this book. This is the book you need, guys. Start with this book. English, Spanish, doesn't matter. The Power of Now. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That's the best beginner's book. But yeah, guys, you can have more than one twin flame. Now, are you going to meet more than one twin flame? Well, that would be pretty tough to prove that, because the only thing that we know to tell how you met a twin flame is if meeting this person triggers a spontaneous spiritual awakening, and it happens fast. There's the little bubble love phase at the beginning. It'll last anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, where it's all awesome and perfect and your twin flame reciprocates. And then they take off running and you crash. You go into the dark night of the soul, also known as ego death, also has been written about for a long time in spiritual circles, right? Thousands of years, what that's like. And make no mistake, it is not the dark night of the soul. It is not ego death unless after the experience of ego death, dark night of the soul, when you come out of it, this happens, right? Highly paranormal. Very strange experience, but really cool. Man, I remember those days. I'll never forget. What a crazy experience. Wow. So yes, you can have more than one twin flame. Now let's change gears a little bit. So this, and Gokul, thank you for your super chat, dear sir. This next bit that I want to talk about, it's adjacent actually to your question, which is what are the other things, what are the other indicators that are specific to twin flames? I just want to wrap up one thing. Let me share my screen with you. One talking point. Yeah, the eyes too. Don't let me forget that. So I guess there's 3 things, but let me show you guys something. I typed this up. for you guys. So this is, again, you're going to see this like on my Facebook post. I'm telling you, go to any Twin Flame Facebook group other than mine, right? And just go, your divine masculine will not awaken, and pick the big red thing like I did, right? Instead of just like a string of text. You know, you pick that background. You know how Facebook lets you do that? Hold on. This. Right? Make sure that it's going to get attention. You can go to one of those other Facebook groups. And yeah, why do some people meet their twin flame? Yeah, I don't know. You're going to have to ask God on that one. Well, anyway, just put in there, your divine masculine will not awaken, right? And you're going to get the same kind of stuff I've been talking about this whole time. You're going to get mostly semantics. They're going to tell you you can't define Kundalini. Again, why do we have words? Why is a word invented in the first place? Why do we have words? Well, a word is invented to describe something that already exists, like the wind. How are we going to describe this strange force blowing on us? Let's call it wind. All right, but the wind was there first, or Kundalini, or psychic ability. But you have to tell people that, and what they're going to do is they're going to tell you that you're toxic or you're arrogant if you say that to them. You go, well, that's semantics. The reason we have words is, but yeah, you will get attacked like a son of a bitch. You will. Oh my God. It's insufferable. Most of the people who say they met a twin flame, they did not. Most of the people in the so-called twin flame community, and I dare say it's well over 90%. But they've got all these silly arguments. So it's usually semantics. They're going to attack you. You could just be saying very plainly, I don't think you're a twin flame. And they're going to call you names. They're going to call you arrogant. They're going to say you don't know what you're talking about. They're going to try to gaslight you by telling you that you need to do healing. Why? Because to the language of emotionalism, empiricism sounds like hate. Or they're going to tell you, this is another popular argument. They're going to say it works different for everyone. It works different for everyone. Okay, let's debunk that. No, it doesn't work different for everyone, actually. And you'll notice this, you guys. I've been doing this for over 8 years, and here's what I've noticed. That there are actually 3 main categories of people in the so-called twin flame community, and each category works the same. Number 1, people who are in a healthy relationship with the person they call twin flame. These people sound exactly like the videos we just watched. So in other words, here, let me roll it again for you guys. Let's roll it again. It's only 2.5 minutes. Here's the videos I'm talking about. If you want to know what I'm talking about, if you just joined us or something.
A healthy relationship is two people choosing each other, not one person chasing while the other one is bullshitting or breadcrumbing you. Attachment isn't love. Sometimes it's just fucking anxiety dressed up as chemistry so that it tricks you. Do they actually make you feel safe, or are you just addicted to the guessing game that they leave you with every time? Falling in love doesn't mean you fill holes. Falling in love means that you accept the other person for who they are and you build a fucking life together. So I want you to ask yourself, am I actually connecting with them? Meaning I love their morals, ethos, and ethics. I think their character is amazing. Or am I just attaching because I'm so terrified that if I don't get them, I'm never going to meet anybody else and I need them? Because baby, that's just your core beliefs in your childhood rearing its ugly head. Are they really that amazing, or are they just fucking familiar?
So how do you know if he is the awakened masculine? One is that he can maintain eye contact with you without looking away or without looking at his phone or distracting himself. Number 2, he has grounded strong presence. He is there, present with you, and able to hold space for you and your emotions. Number 3, he's comfortable with his own emotions, and he's able to communicate his feelings without shutting down. He's able to keep an open line of communication with you without running away for, weeks on end without responding, but he's there to listen to you and also to respond. You'll feel the connection with him, and you'll feel safe with him in his presence. You'll feel like you can relax and you are safe to be in his presence, to communicate with him.
5 signs you're in a healthy relationship. You feel safe with them. You just know they have your back.
Safe?
You feel seen and heard whenever you're around them. They make you feel confident, like you can do anything. Their words and actions make you feel loved. And a quick connection with them makes you feel grounded.
A healthy relationship is one where you feel heard without having to shout. It's one where you feel loved without having to shrink. It's one where you feel respected in silence, not just praised in public. It's one where you feel desired for who you are, not just what you offer. It's a relationship where you feel pushed to grow, never pressured to perform. A place where peace isn't boring and passion isn't toxic. Because real love doesn't choose between calm and chemistry.
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong.
You can't tell the difference.
Which thing is not like the other by the time.
Can't tell the difference between any of those 4 videos. You guys, Danielle, you're my buddy now. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy and me. No, really. She goes, I'm in this one twin flame group on Facebook, and there's so many people in there saying that they are the divine masculine and they have awakened. So I shared a post that you posted about how the divine masculine will not awaken, and they got so mad at me. Bravo. Bravo, Danielle. Did you ever know that you're my hero? That's so awesome. And again, taking up an interest voluntarily in spiritualism is not the same thing that I am talking about. That is an apples to oranges comparison. I am talking about an involuntary, forced, spontaneous spiritual awakening, like the police coming to get you. You're going to fucking do it. They are not having that experience. They absolutely are not. They are not. And yeah, the thing that makes divine masculine a divine masculine, one of the things is the motherfucker's never going to say that you're twin flames. They're never going to believe in the connection. Guys, God's self does not prove God's self to itself. This is a completely inward experience. Now, there is one thing which we're kind of talking about right now. I'm building up to it. Well, yeah. Like when you detach, they come back, they'll respond. They respond to that shit. They'll come right back when you detach from them. Yes. So they don't know why they want to be with you so bad all of a sudden, but they do. But they're not going to go, oh, we're twin flames. You bet. We're going to get to that, you guys. I got more. I got one of my students. I got her queued up, ready to go, you guys. And this is another thing. This was never a thing 8 years ago when I started. People claiming to be the divine masculine. Again, so it's anything you want. Anybody's a twin flame now. It can be anything you want it to be because it's semantics. You're not allowed to define words. We just talked about that. You're not allowed to do that. There's no diagnostic at all. No criteria is allowed. And if anybody claims to offer one, we're just going to claim that you're arrogant and you're toxic and you're some kind of a narcissist, which, by the way, is exactly what a narcissist would say. Right? If it works different for everybody, if no one is allowed to define anything, then anyone can claim anything they want. You see how that works? So that's the first type of people. There's 3 categories. It works different for everyone. I figured out that there's 3 types. There's 3 types. Number 1, the people that are in a healthy relationship. And I showed you those videos again to demonstrate this is like healthy relationship stuff. It's like ordinary, like standard relationship coaching advice. And they're with their person and they're happy, right? They just think that they are twin flames. You guys, I've got friends that were family friends. Like my parents went to high school with these people. And so growing up, my parents had their kids and their parents had their kids, and they would come over and the kids would all hang out, right? And I ran into one of them years later. I hadn't seen her for like 10 years. And she goes, "How you doing? Long time no see." And she's with her new husband. They just got married. Super happy couple, super cute. They're all in love. They're so damn cute, guys. And they're obviously it's a soulmate. There was no running and chasing. There was no spiritual awakening. They're not spiritual people at all. And they go, "So what are you doing?" And I go, "I'm a twin flame coach." And they look at each other and they go, "Oh, maybe that's what we are," right? Like all they had to do was hear the term twin flame. I mean, maybe at first they go, "What's a twin flame?" And I go, "It's a person that you meet and you fall in love with them. And then, some other stuff happens." And I didn't get but that far. I didn't say anything else about it. And they go, "Maybe that's what we are." Yeah. And I go, No. You're soulmates. I didn't even explain it to them. All I said is it's a romantic connection. That's basically all I said. The term twin flame sounds endearing and cute and junk, guys. So that's all that is. Category number 1. All right, category number 2. People who are not in a relationship with the person they call twin flame, and there was no involuntary, forced, spontaneous spiritual awakening as the result of meeting the person who they call twin flame. And that can be broken down into 2 subcategories. The first one is limerence. The second one is somebody that has some kind of psychological issues. And we talked about that, definitely talked about that on last week's live stream. Was it last week? I think it was last week. Yeah, right. Oh, that rascal Kurt, that son of a bitch. Always got to be stirring the pot. Right? It was definitely last week's live stream called "It's Not Your Twin Flame, You Need a Psychiatrist." Right? This was last week's live stream. But yeah. So, and I explained, like, there's a lot of those people out there and they deserve care. They deserve care. They should be talking to a professional. No, instead, you've got this whole community of people on Facebook or whatever encouraging them. So that's the second kind of twin flame. The third kind of twin flame is somebody who is actually a twin flame. People who are either not in a relationship with the person they call twin flame, and there was an involuntary, forced spontaneous spiritual awakening as the result of meeting the person they call twin flame, or people who are in a relationship with the person they call twin flame, and there was an involuntary, forced spontaneous spiritual awakening as the result of meeting the person they call twin flame. So either you are or you are not with your twin flame, and you actually are a twin flame. And again, in a second, we're going to talk about there's 3 more things that are specific to twin flames other than like the Kundalini and the psychic visions and the out-of-body experiences and that kind of stuff, right? There's 3 things that are absolutely specific to twin flames. So that's the 3 types of twin flames. So don't tell me that it works different for everyone, because I'm telling you, you guys, you've been doing this for 8 years like I have. And you guys, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. You see it. You're already on Facebook. You're probably sitting there watching me right now going, yeah, it is like that. There's these 3 kind of main groups of people. People that are in a healthy relationship with someone they call a twin flame. People that are not in a relationship with their twin flame. And there was no involuntary, spontaneous spiritual awakening. It's just limerence or some kind of psychological. And again, the people with the psychological issues, it's very difficult for you to spot that. That's why I talked about that in last week's live stream. Because it seems like you're interacting with somebody that's fine, but after a while, once you get to know the person, you're like, wait a minute, something's up with this person, and they think they're having telepathy or something, and they're not, right? People that really met a twin flame, by the way, guys, if you tell them that they're not a twin flame, they don't really care, because to them, it's not an identity investment, which again, that's a pretty strong indicator that it is their twin flame. Because what do the masters say spiritualism is? Spiritualism is where you release the identity and you realize that you're one with everything. And when you realize beyond mind, you don't understand it. Okay. Realization is the best word, but it's not understood. It's not emotional either. But when you realize you're one with everything, then there is no identity. There is no individual identity. The Buddha is who's going to tell you that. Paramahansa Yogananda, again, the fucking guy left his body. He mahasamadhi'd. Krishnamurti, Ram Dass, Eckhart Tolle, the masters, not some random new ager on Facebook. The big names, you guys. Spirituality is a release of identity. And that's actually one of the questions on my twin flame test. And the people where it ends up that they didn't meet their twin flame for sure. And you can tell they want to argue and they bargain with me. And I have to convince them that I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? They're just sure they met a twin flame and you can't talk them out of it, which is ridiculous because, guys, what's one of the things about twin flames that is definitely understood by everybody? It's that you're the same soul and there's supposed to be something that you can do, like magical through the ether somehow, like to get them to be with you, right? And it's not really law of attraction. That doesn't seem to work. You're trying like those techniques and it's not working, It's definitely understood that there's something you can do to get your twin flame to be with you. And it's true. I'm going to show you an interview with one of my students. And these people that argue with me during the twin flame test, and they won't believe it. They don't believe it. And I have to convince them that I know what I'm doing. And that's fine if you don't want to agree with me. I don't care, guys. I don't get up here and do this because I got some kind of a thin skin or something like that. But the whole thing of it is, and I tell them this too. I show them the Frontiers article, right? The Frontiers in Psychology article. It's peer-reviewed scientific research. I show that to them to try to demonstrate, no, this is peer-reviewed science. I'm not making this up, right? And I've worked with 8,000 people, and I'll even show them that. I'll show them like the back channel of my website. I can show it to you guys right now. Before I ever had this website, I coached 1,132 people. Yeah, it was 1132. 1,132 people I coached. And if you look at the back end of my website, now that I've got this website, here's 6864, 6864. And then I'm going to add the 1,132 people that I was keeping track of them all on a spreadsheet, by the way. Believe it or not, there's like 10,000 lines on that fucking spreadsheet. So 1132 on that spreadsheet, but I would have to make like an entry for every transaction. That's why there's literally like 10,000 lines on there. And then 6864. And then I got this hardship program for people that, you know, they live in like a third world country, they can't pay or something, right? That's 8,159. Let me do it again. 163, 1132, and 6864. Oh, no. It's 1032. 1032 on the spreadsheet. Yeah. 163. And then 6864. 8,059. Yes, I've really coached. Oh, and I got these people. 8. I got 8 people that signed up for the Spanish program so far. So 8,067. Yes, I've really coached 8,000 people in my program. Yes, there's a real way that you can tell if you met your twin flame. I have to convince this person. And I tell them at the end, I go, look, this person, they're not your twin flame, dude. No matter what you do, they're never going to come to be with you. And that's the whole reason. That's what this all comes down to for this person, is they want to know if it's their twin flame. Why? Because maybe we're going to be able to be together. That is the reason they want to know. Are we twin flames? Why do you want to know if you're twin flames? Because are we going to be together, right? If they're my twin flame, then we're going to be together, right? It's well understood in the twin flame genre that you're the same soul and there's something you can do to get them to come be with you, right? And I tell them, dude, let's just play devil's advocate. If you're not twin flames, then there's nothing you can do to get this person to be with you, and you're just wasting your time. And you should just go find a soulmate. You know what I mean? Like, what if I'm right? What if they're not your twin flame? I say that to them. Woo! I coached over 8,000 twin flames, 8,000 students, and I'm getting 8,000 motherfucking divine masculines. That's funny. Everybody's a divine masculine now. Oh my God. All right, continuing. So there's only 4 possible total groups. I mean, 3 main groups. One of the groups I put into 2 categories. And it works the same for each group, doesn't it? Each one of those 3 groups, it's the same for each group. Group 1, group 2, group 3. You can describe each group. And it's going to be the same every time. It's going to be the same description every time. Where have we heard of this concept before? Where you describe things and it's the same every time, and we categorize things. And we're going to use fucking words. We're going to invent vocabulary to describe things like, I don't know, Kundalini or twin flame, right? Where have we heard of this concept before? Where you can categorize the things by description and try to explain phenomenon in our universe. Yeah, this is science, guys. Science is not a building with dudes wearing white lab coats walking around in it. It's not an experiment table. Those things are scientific. Those are scientific things or scientific institutions, but science itself is a methodology. The reason people say it works different for everyone is because either They have not noticed yet that 100% of the so-called twin flame community can be categorized as above, or they're not really a twin flame, so they just say it works different for everyone, so that they can be able to say that they are a twin flame. E.g., they have an identity investment in twin flame because they think that makes them special, which again, having an identity investment is the exact opposite of spiritualism. Says who? The Buddha, Yogananda, Ramana Maharshi, Krishnamurti, Eckhart Tolle. Divine oneness. To them, it's an identity. Note, involuntary is not the same as feeling compelled or feeling drawn to. Involuntary means you are forced. It's like the police coming to get you. In fact, the vast majority of people who really met a twin flame, they were never spiritual to begin with. They were just some banker or a clerk or a nurse or a construction worker type. They were never interested in spiritualism in the slightest. Some of them were. I was in my early 20s. And then I definitely went into the matrix. I went and got a corporate job. I did. Kurt, New World All-Star. So from the age of like 27 until I was 39, I was unconscious, living in the matrix. I got married, right? Definitely not spiritual. And then my twin flame came in like a fucking wrecking ball and fucked that up. Meeting this person thrust them into a highly paranormal experience beyond their control, meaning it was forced, it was involuntary. And I promise you, you guys, if you try to argue with these people on Facebook, they're going to continue to say, oh, it was involuntary. But if a parapsychologist talked to them, right, they would find something very different. The fake twin flames, they claim bullshit. That's what they're going to tell you. This is bullshit. It is what I say it is. Right. So anyone can play along. Anyone can play along because it's whatever each person says it is. It works different for everybody. And if it works different for everybody, then anybody can say anything they want to say about it. You're allowed to throw the existing definition for words out the window. Mountains of scientific research. Who the fuck needs that shit? By the way, somebody's asking, what is the scientific proof for reincarnation? I've got something for you. You go to my YouTube channel, scroll down a bit. Twin Flame Science, New World All-Star. Twin Flame Science. Check out this video. It's called How the Soul Works and Reincarnation 2. How the Soul Works and Reincarnation 2. Is this thing gonna... I don't know why it's doing that. Come on. Okay, there we go. Maybe. Hold on. Let's see if this thing will let me do it. Do. Come on, Chrome. Huh. It doesn't want to let me do it. That's okay. You can see it. It's the second video. How the Soul Works and Reincarnation 2. And at the beginning of the video, I debunk the claim that there's no evidence for reincarnation. So go check that video out. How the Soul Works and Reincarnation 2. This is a good playlist, guys, because I kind of cover the gamut. How chakras work. That's an interesting video. You guys got to check that video out. And again, I'm going to use like pretty well established scientific principle and phenomenon in our universe and look for the similarities in chakras, Basically, what I think a chakra is it works the same as a black hole. You know, like a black hole out there in the universe. Go check that video out. So yeah, there's plenty of scientific proof for reincarnation. It's just material scientists, when you show them the proof, they go la 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 la, right? And they start asking you all kinds of nuanced, logical fallacy type questions to try to invalidate what you're saying. The fact is, there's a metric shit ton of evidence for reincarnation. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. This comment from Squishy makes me think that you really met your twin flame. I was atheist agnostic before I was thrust into becoming spiritual last year. Now I have a deep feeling of love that persists. Amen to that. Now, I want to show you this interview with my student, Rain. And I'm not a very good interview. I apologize profusely. You guys, I'm a talker, man. And the reason I talk so much in my interviews is because I'm worried that the audience is going to misinterpret what my student is saying. And the reason I worry about that is because they do. And they misinterpret it a lot. And so with Rain here, that's her name, Rain. I prepped her for that at the beginning of our meeting. I said, I'm going to probably do half the talking. And so I apologize in advance, but that's why I do that. And so I wasn't talking over her to be rude. And she was like, no, that's fine. I get it, you know. But here's how you get your twin flame to come back. Here's one of the 3 things. Remember what I said? I go, there's 3 things that are specific to twin flames. There's all the other spontaneous spiritual awakening stuff that we just talked about. We still got super chats turned on, by the way, guys. If you got any questions, I'll see if there's any good ones. I want to do at least 1 or 2 other questions. But if you want to get my attention, super chats are the way. Well, anyway, there's all the spontaneous spiritual awakening stuff, which could happen to anybody who's having a spontaneous spiritual awakening. Again, there's lots of other ways for a spontaneous spiritual awakening to be triggered. The death of a loved one, a near-death experience, your life circumstances falling apart, a terminal illness, right? I had a buddy that had 2 of those things. A terminal illness, he just barely recovered, very life-threatening illness, and then life circumstances. And it threw him into a tailspin, and he had a spontaneous spiritual awakening, right? Again, English. If you're watching in Spanish, link in the description. Just go look in the description, English, Spanish, right? A spontaneous spiritual awakening. So this here is peer-reviewed, third-party scientific literature from prestigious universities and institutions. These are psychologists and college professors, the University of Greenwich in London, the Imperial College of London, peer-reviewed by these guys here on the left. They're using the word union. Why are they using the word union? Well, maybe it's because they're talking about something else than you think they're talking about, right? Maybe that word doesn't mean what you think it does. But all they're doing is just studying a phenomenon that we already know about. It's involuntary. It's forced. It's a spontaneous spiritual awakening. It is not a voluntary spiritual awakening where you maybe feel this strong pull towards spiritual topics, which is awesome. No, it's involuntary. It's spontaneous. You just start having fucking Kundalini without having to do anything to get it to start happening. And again, people are going to play around with the meaning of the word Kundalini. We just talked about that. So there's 3 things. So all of the stuff in this research paper can happen to anybody who had some triggering event. Again, a terminal illness, the death of a loved one, your life situation falling apart, right? There's different doorways into this type of an awakening. Twin flame is just one doorway, you guys, right? But there are 3 things in particular that are specific to twin flames, that only happen to twin flames. And we're going to talk about that right now. So listen up. Here's Rain. Listen to what she says. Here we go.
So the times he came back was when I remembered in here. I would feel in here, and that's when he would, and it was quickly. It was very quickly.
Right.
I would get like a text message an hour, a couple hours later, or it was that after experiencing that is when he would come back. Yeah.
And we've had people come through the program with borderline and stuff like that, and they're with their twin. Yeah, that's a thing. You can have psychological stuff going on, but what it is that she experienced was that sense of oneness. She had that experience in her heart, and that's when he would come back.
That's when he would, and it was quickly. It was very quickly.
Right.
I would get like a text message an hour, a couple hours later, or it was that after experiencing that is when he would come back. Feel in here, and that's when he would, and it was quickly. It was very quickly.
Right.
It was then that I would start.
Okay, so I'm going to back up the video a little bit. Listen to what she says now. This is a little earlier.
So what I did do was just what you teach. So I started meditating, and I started going on walks. Like I was already going to the gym, but I was like, I need something that's a bit more kind of grounding, like because I would go to the gym and my mind would still be like in the early days, my mind would still be running. So I started walking and getting outside. And it was then that I would start to experience, because I would do like walking meditations. Yeah. And I would start to get really present just within my body, and I would experience that like oneness, I guess. You experience yourself. It's not, and then you realize that you're everything. You're not just you.
That's another checkbox on my twin flame test. They call it non-dual merging.
Yeah, and that, I think, so the merging is what everyone refers to as the feminine and masculine coming together, but how I've perceived that on my journey, which is not a journey, it's just whatever, is that it's just you remembering that you are a soul.
Right, exactly. You're not bringing the feminine and masculine together. You're letting go of duality, guys. This is what I teach you guys all the time. You see people, you got to balance your inner feminine and masculine. Well, what's really going on is you're going beyond duality. You're doing the master's journey. You're not balancing anything. You're letting go of that which can balance the mind. The soul is oneness. It's non-duality. It's not yin and yang. It's the one. So there's no other thing for you to balance with. You're releasing duality. You're not blending things or balancing things. And she just said it herself. When you have that experience, you're going, no, actually, I just felt like I was one. I released duality. I released the illusion of the mind and of duality. The mind has always been referred to as separation by the great spiritual masters. Why? Because it's duality. There's this and there's that. There's a me and there's a you. And we are separate. That's the way the mind perceives reality. But the soul is just oneness. So you guys, you're doing some healing. You're trying to balance your inner feminine and masculine. You're wasting your time. You don't need all that new age stuff. Use the master's teachings, guys. Who are you going to listen to? The Buddha or some random new ager on Facebook? That's another checkbox on my twin flame test. They call it non-dual merging.
Yeah, and that I think so. The merging is what everyone refers to as the feminine and masculine coming together. But how I've perceived that on my journey, which is not a journey, it's just whatever, is that it's just you remembering that you are a soul. Like,
right. You're remembering. You're not becoming anything, guys. It's a remembrance. Buddha said, don't you see? You're all Buddhas. Jesus said, these things and more shall you also do. All the masters, they're all trying to tell you the same thing, guys. You going to listen to Jesus or some person with crystals calling themselves a shamanic healer, calling yours truly a, what was it? A twat muffin? She called me a twat muffin. Can't even make an argument. Can't even make a case. Doesn't want to have a conversation about it. Just name calling. And again, later in the video, here, I'll play it again. Where is it?
I was just going to say the times he came back was when I remembered in here. I would feel in here, and that's when he would, and it was quickly. It was very quickly.
Right.
I would get like a text message an hour, a couple hours later, or at some, it was that after experiencing that is when he would come back.
Right. She would have that experience of oneness or unity. And immediately he contacts her, right? That's what they're talking about in this peer-reviewed research paper, union. And again, the masters, they use that word. And again, Spanish, come check it out. If you're watching me in Spanish, there's a link in the video description for you to go check it out. But they're using the word union in here to describe exactly what she is talking about. And again, Ram Dass, Alan Watts, Rupert Spira, Paramahansa Yogananda, they know what separation is. They know what union is. Now, this is the interesting thing about this, you guys. This was the big code breaker. When I started 8 years ago, even, I started asking questions. Why are twin flames using the lingo that they are using? Union? They're using the word union for a relationship status? Oh my God, that's hilarious. I thought it was a college reunion. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, the New Agers, they are weirdly hostile. Yes, because they have an identity. Real spiritualism is releasing identity. Anyway, if you go to my playlist here on my YouTube channel, it doesn't matter which English or Spanish, it could be English or Spanish. It's the very first video where it says the ultimate truth. Do you see that? The very first video. It is first for a reason. Twin flames, separation consciousness, unity consciousness, and detaching. 8 years ago, I was like, I don't think that's what union is. I heard them using the word union in the twin flame niche, and immediately I started asking questions because, guys, who does that? Who does that? I'm in union with my boyfriend, or I'm in separation. They broke up with me. I mean, I guess separation could be a legal term, but that has to do with divorce. Guys, nobody does that. You just say we're dating, or he dumped me. And then you find out that union and separation are used to describe states of consciousness. The mind is called separation. In the Zen traditions, genuine spiritualism, real spiritualism. Union is your divine essence beyond body and mind, the soul, right? Or the I am, if you go beyond that, right? But the soul is basically like a holographic reproduction of the all, right? So when you hit that bullseye of I am, you're aligning with your soul. And then there's also, I have my students, they'll do like the Heart Math Institute We talked about that in today's live stream, the heart-brain coherence technique. But there's Rain. There's Rain, you guys. She's going to tell you herself, I experienced the oneness. Instantly, he came back. And it's a remembrance. And she did not do any healing. And we actually talked about that a little bit in this video. She said, I was seeing a psychologist, but I wasn't doing any of that shit for my twin flame. And so in this video, I made sure that we stopped right there and specified that to the audience, right? Yes, she was talking to a psychiatrist or a psychologist or something, but it was for like family trauma or something like that. She didn't use any of that stuff for her twin flame. And then on top of that, you've got all these other awesome people. And none of these other people ever talked to a psychologist. And Rain, good for you. I'm glad she did that. I talked to a psychologist. I am a narcissism survivor. But that already happened long after the whole awakening took place, guys. My twin flame and I are good. And that was established long before I talked to a psychologist about my family shit. Right? I'm a narcissism survivor. Gretel, she has not talked to a psychologist. Here's Gretel. So I have a very special guest to introduce to you today. This is my twin flame coaching student, Gretel.
Hello.
So I just found out a few days ago that Gretel here is already married to her twin flame. She even contacted us and sent us a beautiful photo from their wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
And that was super cool, super exciting. You guys are a cute couple, by the way.
Thank you.
Super cute together. So I have to ask, my curiosity is getting the best of me here. How did you guys meet?
I always laugh when people ask me this because it's a very funny story, the way things happened. I was in a place during the pandemic, renting out a room in the apartment.
Okay, you can go watch the rest of that for yourself. We actually did like an hour plus long interview in my paid coaching system. That's a weird place to stop. We're both blinking. That's interesting. What does it mean? Yeah, but her and myself and a few other students that are with their twin flame, we did an interview, like an in-depth interview in the paid coaching system that you guys might find interesting. You might find it interesting if you ever sign up. But let me show you. I have this picture in such a weird place. I need to put it in a easier to find place. There we nope. That one. Oh wait, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. Okay. Share screen. That one. There we go. Okay. There's Gretel. Maybe. There we go. There's Gretel on her wedding day, getting married to her other self. That's the picture that I mentioned in the interview. There you go. Yes, they're married. Yes, she's a twin flame. I gave her a test. She had the whole thing, the whole awakening experience, right? Yeah, there's a bunch of people, you guys, on that playlist that I've helped. And again, English, Spanish, I've got it in Spanish too. Twin flame success stories. Now, my point right now is they're always going to tell you the same thing. They're always going to tell you, I didn't do any healing. I didn't balance my inner feminine and masculine. I did a detox. I stopped chasing this person and I went within. I experienced myself as this deeper consciousness. I only did that. And I felt like this sense of oneness. Or another thing that you can do, you guys, is just like make the conscious decision to let them go. And this works better at the beginning of the journey, right? When you're still kind of in the runner chaser thing, right? But you can do it that way too. It doesn't work quite as well, but you can, where you like mentally convince yourself, I'm just going to let this person go. And you mean it. You mean it. You let them go and you fucking mean it. I'm going to let them go and I'm going to move on. And you really feel that. They'll contact you right away. So all of this has everything to do with this little mechanism. What's this little mechanism? The twin flame push pull. It's physics, guys. It's not psychology. It's not because they're an avoidant. Again, let's suppose for a second that they are an avoidant. Okay, well, they might run from everybody else for that reason, but they're not going to run from you for that reason. And when you align with your soul, remember, you and your twin flame are the same soul. You experience this oneness. It's like a letting go too. For those of you going, oh, I got to try to do that. Yeah, it's like the opposite of trying. Actually, but anyway, in some form, you're letting go of separation. You're either saying, I've got to let them go, or you're experiencing oneness. And look, here we go. Vicky in the chat right off the bat. I am letting him go, and he contacted me last night. There you go. But in either case, what you're doing is you're releasing separation. You're letting go of this push-pull. Immediately they come back. It's immediate, just like Rain said in her interview. She said in her interview, it happened within an hour or 2 hours. It was immediate. It was immediate. Here, let me play it again for you guys. This is one of the three things. Remember what we're talking about? This is one of the three things that are unique to twin flames. Guys, this is paranormal. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. You go within, you experience unity consciousness, and this person comes right back. They respond to it. It's cause and effect. Cause and effect. If you have cause and effect, you've got yourself a science experiment. I mean, just let that sink in for a second, guys. If you've got cause and effect, you've got yourself a science experiment. You can take a measurement. That's data. That's information. Cause and effect. You're the feminine. You align with your soul. You experience oneness. Instantly, this person comes back, and they don't know why. They don't know why they're contacting you all of a sudden. They just want to really bad. They don't know that you had a shift or that you let go.
The time that he came, sorry, I was just going to say the times he came back was when I remembered in here. I would feel in here, and that's when he would, and it was quickly. It was very quickly.
Right.
I would get like a text message an hour, a couple hours later, or it was that after experiencing that is when
it was right away. It was right away. It's paranormal, guys, because it's done through the ether. It's like they've done these experiments. I think I first originally heard about this from Greg Braden, right? Science and spirituality are definitely one thing. Most people just don't know what science is. Anyway, you got two Petri dishes, Petri dish A and Petri dish B, and you put them miles apart. And Petri dish B, we're going to point a microscope at it, like a really powerful microscope, so we can see the chromosomes. And you put some plant matter from the same plant, like you take a leaf or a piece of fruit and you split it up and you put one piece in Petri dish A and another piece in Petri dish B, and you put them miles apart. Petri dish B, You're looking at it at the chromosome level. Petri dish A, you've got people around it, and they focus on the Petri dish, and they start by focusing sadness or anger on Petri dish A. The chromosomes miles away in Petri dish B, they curl up and they become disorganized and disheveled, right? Now, the people around Petri dish A, all of the sudden now, they start focusing love onto Petri dish A, right? So they change to that, to a higher vibration. And the chromosomes in Petri dish B respond by straightening out and becoming highly organized. Interesting. Through the ether. Right. It's paranormal. That's why you have people like Julia Mossbridge that are getting a lot of money to look at stuff like this, guys. You can do controlled experiments on this kind of stuff. And the twin flame detaching test is unique to twin flames. It's cause and effect. Here's the other thing. About half of you who are twin flames for sure, you can have this energetic experience between you and your twin flame. And this is always going to be more at the beginning, or whenever there's an attachment, you're going to feel it. So what it is energy. It's a force. Imagine there's like a giant elastic rubber band attached to your whole torso, and you can physically feel it pulling and stretching. You feel like a force. It's not emotion. It's not adrenaline. It's not like that rush that you get when you're like sexually stimulated and you're about to like do it with somebody, or adrenaline or any of that. It's like a force pulling at you. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you have not experienced this. And it's going from you to your twin flame, and you feel it. You feel it pulling from your body, going to their body. And some of the people, I ask everybody who's had that. So again, these twin flame tests that I do, I ask them this question and they go, yeah, I did have that. It was fucking weird. Right? I go, did your twin flame say that they could feel the energy? And several of those people said yes. They said they felt it pushing onto them. So you, the so-called feminine, it's really not gender, it's really energy. You're the push twin. You have more energy, right? And it's not magnetism, it's entropy. It's not magnetism. Those are different types of energy exchanges. Okay? Twin flames, it's entropy. Okay? In a closed energy system, energy flows from greater to lesser. You and your twin flame are a closed energy system. You are one. Well, anyway, it's always the energy going from the so-called feminine to the so-called masculine. And some of the people told me that their so-called masculine twin flame said they felt the energy pushing onto them, including yours truly. One time we were standing in a bookstore and I felt it, and all I had to do was look at her, and she gave me this look on her face, right? She knew, she could feel it. As soon as I felt it, I looked at her and she gave me this weird look, like that, right? And I waited for a couple of seconds and I go, what happened? And she goes, I felt that. Right. And she says she feels it pushing onto her. It's unidirectional. It's unidirectional. So that's the second thing. The first one is the detaching test, which we just talked about. The second one is this, you can physically feel it. I call it twin flame Kundalini. It's not Kundalini, technically. I mean, there's a feature of actual Kundalini, which is very similar to what I'm talking about. So it's not a bad term altogether, but it's technically not Kundalini. The third thing is the eyes. Oh my God, the eyes. You guys, holy shit balls. And sometimes it's even the whole face is the same, you guys. Let's see. Can I do it this way? No. I have to stop screen sharing. There we go. So it's not the color of your eyes. It's like the shape of the bone around the eyes. It's like the facial structure, right? Like the bone. It's the shape of the eyes. And sometimes it's the whole face, or it'll be the T-zone, right? Your eyes and your nose, the T-zone, right? Let's see. Share screen. There it is. So this is another student of mine getting married to her twin flame in Morocco. She's from the United States. He's from Morocco. This was in the early days. This was like 7 years ago. Look at their faces. I mean, they even have the same nose, you guys. They look like brother and sister or cousins or something. Now, very interesting. They are obviously different races, right? Now, about half of twin flames who are interracial twin flames, you cannot see it. It's always the eyes. Sometimes it's the whole face. And if it's not the whole face, then it's definitely the eyes, right? But in about half of interracial twin flame pairs, you cannot tell. You cannot tell. And then is it this one? No. This one? Yeah. Let's see. I don't know if I want to do it like that. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay. This one is a really obvious one. These were all posted in my public New World All-Star Facebook group. Now, she's got blue eyes. He's got brown eyes, but they both have big droopy eyes. Right? This one you can really tell. You can really see it. This one too. Right? Yeah, this is an interracial twin flame pair. You cannot tell at all. Right? Here's another interracial twin flame pair. You can tell. Right? So it's about half. These guys look like they could be brother and sister. They look so much alike. Oh, wait, you guys can't see my screen. Hold on a second. Hold on. Give me just a second. One moment, please. Come on, computer. Okay, do that. Do that. There you go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right. So this is an interracial twin flame pair. You can't tell. You really can't tell at all. This is an interracial twin flame pair, and you can tell. I see it. These guys look like they could be cousins or brother and sister, basically. Let me back up. This one is the one I told you. She's got blue eyes. He's got brown eyes, but they both have big droopy eyes. Right? This one's really obvious. So the eyes, guys, and you know what they say? Eyes are windows to the soul. Eyes are windows to the soul. So there's the three things. You got the detaching test, you've got twin flame kundalini, and you've got the eyes. Those are specific to twin flames. And everybody gets the detaching test. And I mean everybody. Everybody can have the detaching test, 100%. Why? Because it's one of the most well-known, understood things about this phenomenon, which is that there's something that you can do, like magical, through the ether or something, to get your twin flame to come back to you. And it's true. That's what. There's two things that are very well understood. There are two things that are very well understood. Number one, twin flames are the same soul. Number two, there's something that you can do to get them to come back. Yeah, and this person is going, we are interracial twin flames and our eyes don't match. That's fine. You just got to get all the other indicators. Go check out my, let's see, where is it? Oh, this. There we go. Go check out my video. There's a playlist on my YouTube channel called The True Twin Flame Teachings, English or Spanish, whichever you like. If you're a Spanish speaker, but either one of those, go to the True Twin Flame Teachings and watch this video. It's called The 7 True Twin Flame Signs. It's 3 hours long, and it is long for a reason. It's like a college course on how to tell if it's really your twin flame. And take notes, watch the whole video. Because the first half and the second half are very different, but they're both critical. And you have to get a preponderance of the indicators. And I explain that in the video. I explain all of it. And you might be sitting there thinking, 3 hours, that's too long. I'm not going to watch that. Oh, yeah? Well, if you're really a twin flame, yeah, you'll want to watch it. You will. I know anybody that really met their twin flame will want to watch every minute of that video. Don't just watch half. Don't just watch 2 hours. Just watch an hour today and an hour tomorrow. Take notes. And it's because I have to explain, like, for example, Kundalini. What is Kundalini and what is it not? Because like I've been talking about during this whole entire live stream, people got to make stuff up about that too. God. So I have to debunk things in that video, but you're going to be clear if it's your twin flame or not. That'll be the last time you ever watch any signs videos. Yeah, 2 times you had an inner shift and he came back. Well, there you go. There was one person in here. Because the detaching test, by the way, everybody, they 100% of you, if it's your twin, if it's really a twin flame, if it's really a twin flame and you do this properly, they will come back. Your twin flame. So Tara here, she said, I did the detox and within days he unfollowed me. We were in contact, but since detox, no contact for months. And it's probably because you're making him the goal. This is something that I explain and over explain in my paid coaching program. You're not doing any of this to get your twin flame to come back. And this is the whole thing that I want you guys to understand. This is your spiritual awakening, nothing else. Some of you, I see in the comments on my video or in this chat or whatever, and you've been here for years. And I mean, I don't really understand it because I know you're still trying to figure out how to get your twin flame to come back. You need to not be doing anything to get your twin flame to come back at all. You need to get out of this line. This says the twin flame obsession. Get out of that line and get into this line, the true spiritual journey. You have to, for honest to goodness, for really real, not kidding, not be trying to get your twin flame to come back. You're not doing anything to get your twin flame to come back at all. Nothing at all. You can't even be faking it. Like, oh, no, really, I am doing this for my spiritual awakening. But Kurt, what happens if I mess up this part? Right. You're asking me that question. That's the problem. And the thing is, you guys, you don't need to do anything about it. You know what Rain said? Rain, the gal with the blonde hair and the red shirt. You know what she said? At the very beginning of our interview, she said, the less that I do about him, oh, excuse me. She said, the less that I do about him, the more that he wants to be with me. Either that, Tara, or it's not your twin flame. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. Excuse me. Let's see. Are there any other questions that I would like to address? Or do you guys have any burning questions? We could do another question if you want. I can hang out for a few minutes. I'm looking in the chat to see if there's anything I missed. Anything? Okay, so you did the twin flame test. All right, very good. You took a twin flame test with me. All right, well, Tara, then you're probably just making him the goal. If you remember, the part in the paid coaching, well, maybe you might not have taken the paid coaching, but I explain the addictive energy, or like secretly making them the goal or subconsciously making them the goal, even though you're not trying to. The addictive energy is like you have a huge Olympic-sized swimming pool full of crystal clear, clean, cool water. And it's just so amazing. And you just want to jump right in there, and it just feels so good and refreshing. That's your spiritual awakening, right? And that's awesome. But then here comes somebody with an eyedropper right? An eyedropper full of this nasty, disgusting, like sewage tar kind of muck. Nasty. It's a huge Olympic-sized swimming pool. They even put in the pool like reverse osmosis water or fucking, I don't know, what do you call it? From one of those water purifiers in the woods. Spring water. I don't know. They trucked in spring water or whatever, right? So it's not even like nasty chlorine infested water, right? It's fucking some awesome water, right? Refreshing water. And it's a huge Olympic sized swimming pool, brand new swimming pool. Nobody's ever swam in it before, ever. Nobody has swam in it. It's all for you. A nice, fresh, brand new swimming pool that's just refreshing and amazing, right? And then again, somebody comes with an eyedropper and they put one drop of the goop, just one. I mean, the drop is like literally that big, right? They put one drop and it screws up the whole swimming pool. You got to drain the water out and tear it down, start over. That's the addictive energy. You got to plug all the leaks. Make sure you're not doing anything, Tara, to get your twin flame to come back. And again, it really shouldn't be that hard. You need to genuinely be more interested in cultivating a relationship with the divine and experiencing yourself as this deep divine essence. Get really, really expert level good at meditating. And again, why are you doing that? Because it feels so good to meditate. You're not doing it to get your twin flame back. It's a paradox, guys. You can't be doing anything to get your twin flame to come back. So there could be something else going on. Can we change our twin flames? Is there a swap option? Well, no, but I know why you're saying that, because again, the myth is that your twin flame is your perfect lover. Now, you guys can be together and it could be that you're very compatible. Yes, that's definitely possible. And I should know, I certainly have helped a lot of people to be together with their twin flame, like Rain here. Or Gretel, she is married to her twin flame. Again, head over to my Twin Flame Success Stories playlist. I got it in English or Spanish. Twin Flame Success Stories. There's people married to their twin flame. They're living together. Ruxar, dude, this chick, oh my God, I could listen to her talk all fucking day, dude. She's amazing. And they have kids together. They are still together. Right? Now, maybe you don't like your twin flame. This is another part of the twin flame mythology that people, they don't want to hear it. Could your twin flame be somebody who's kind of a jerk? Sure. They're not your perfect lover. That's soulmates. That was already called soulmates. Right? A soulmate. You're my person. I come home to you and I cry on your shoulder and we're just like peanut butter and jelly together. Right? We're like bread and butter. Right? A soulmate. My perfect lover. So why do we even need the term twin flame if it's the exact same thing that people already called a soulmate? You know? Well, it's because that's a myth. Now, you guys could be very good together. You get along really well, and it stands to reason, but you weren't a perfect angel in all of the incarnations that you've ever lived. And this isn't a controversial spiritual bit of knowledge. You've been a sinner and a saint. So maybe you don't want to be with your twin flame. Well, then why did I meet them? Because your twin flame triggers your spontaneous spiritual awakening. So just take the awakening and go get a soulmate. Mom like Keeks, what's up? Can Kundalini also be seeing colors when you close your eyes after meditating? Yes. And what I should say is that's not Kundalini itself, but that is a side effect or a byproduct of Kundalini. But Kundalini, again, specifically, Kundalini is the sensation where, let's just pretend that your spine is like a water pipe. And at first, nothing's happening, nothing's going on. And then all of a sudden, somebody turns the water on full blast all at once. And you feel the water shooting up the pipe like it's your spine. And it'll like move your body like, oh, it's strong, powerful, spontaneous Kundalini awakening. Like the guy was talking about in this video. Let's watch this video again. So again, we're not talking about the kind of Kundalini where you go learn to do it and work with your prana or whatever. No, it's like the cops come and get you. You're forced to do it. You're not trying to do it. It's completely involuntary. And when it's this kind of involuntary Kundalini, it is extremely powerful, the Kundalini.
Kundalini awakening is a big blast of Shakti through the system. In a way, everything is Kundalini, everything is that Shakti. Shakti just means energy. But sometimes, in some people, they get a big blast of it at one time through the chakra systems. Now, what you can find though,
they get a big blast of it. Oh, God, I love British accents, dude. British people are so cool. But yeah, it feels like that. So Kundalini truly, specifically, what it feels like is that big blast. It's that big blast of energy that goes through your spine. And again, the hipsters on the internet, they're going to argue with you about that, right? The New Agers who are not spiritual, to them, it's a personality type, which is the exact opposite of spirituality, right? Spirituality is where you release identity. But they're going to tell you, oh, Kundalini is anything you want it to be. And it's hot flashes and it's headaches and it's some emotional experience. It's an orgasm. I've had people tell me they had an orgasm and that was Kundalini. No. And Kundalini, again, why have a word? Why do we have words? Why are words invented in the first place? To describe phenomenon. It doesn't work the other way around. We're going to come up with a word and then everybody argue about what it means. No. If you really want to know what Kundalini is, go to the library and get a book that was published before 1970. Like this one right here, right? So that's one of the things that happens during Kundalini. Mom like Keeks. Now, another thing that can happen during Kundalini, and this is extremely common, very common, you feel this force. It's like a big elastic rubber band of energy, which is attached to your entire body. It's like this elastic band pulling and stretching and pulling you up into the sky. It's like anti-gravity. It's not an emotion. It's not adrenaline, like a rush. No, it's a force. And it's like physically feel it pulling at you, right? People often report those. And I did. And I felt it like pulling me around. And I just kind of went with it. And it was like pulling my body. But the primary source or sensation of Kundalini is that movement of energy in your spine. Now, Mom like Keeks, when you have this experience, yeah, there could be other shit going on too. And I get this all the time. People reporting weird things in their third eye chakra. They see colors and things like that. That's extremely common. It is. It's very, very common. Right. And then there's other things that happen during Kundalini. I like this, Blue Sky. They said, for me, Kundalini was like being on the purest MDM. That's like ecstasy or something, right? Without it ever getting off and without any after effects, just a connection to everything around you, pure bliss. Right. It's right around the time that you're experiencing Kundalini that you can have these sensations of oneness and like Zen and bliss. But you're not on anything at all. You're cold sober. It's a thing, dude. Yeah. That's some crazy shit. You guys, I'm out of gas. We're going to go get some dinner. And shit, but boy, I had a good time with you today. What a great show, everybody. Great questions. God, you guys, you got to hook up some super chats, man. That's all right. I gave somebody $145 today on another YouTube channel. I gave them a super chat because I'm always watching their videos, and they're taking a road trip and they needed some gas money. And I was like, here you go. Yeah, I keep seeing you in the chat going, please, my question, but I looked for your question. I can't find it anywhere. I don't know what your question is. What's your question? Let me know in the chat. I'll hang out for a minute if you want to type it out. What's your question? What is your question? You don't have to give me super chats, guys. But you know what? I don't work for an employer. This is it. This is it, guys. And I'm up here doing this every Tuesday for like 4 hours. I'm just saying. You don't have to give me any money. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to get mad if you don't. You have seen my 3-hour video so many times, but you still doubt it. Well, that's normal, actually. Didn't I talk about that in the video? I don't remember. If you did not doubt that this person is your twin flame, I would think that you were not a twin flame. This is something I actually talked about quite a lot on today's live stream, which is I've dealt with a lot of people, and it's always the same. Somebody who really did meet a twin flame, if you were to tell them, I don't think it's your twin flame, they don't have any problem with that. Right? Or they doubt it, they question it. And the reason that they would question it is because you guys, when you really meet an actual twin flame, another incarnation of your soul, you and your twin flame are the same soul. It is fucking full-blown weird on steroids. Right? It is so fucking bizarre. Leaving your body, psychic visions that come true, merging with the universe, like feeling one with everything, the crazy amount of synchronicities and numbers and psychic dreams that keep coming true. It is full-blown weird. It is weird as fuck. And we're told our whole lives that stuff's not real. That stuff doesn't exist by the system. But the system is lying to you, you guys. And I even just spent the last 4 hours showing you that. Actually, there's a lot of science out there confirming this kind of stuff is real. And they're getting money to do research into it. Why are they getting money? Because they're able to prove some of the shit. Oh my God, finally, thank you. Taylor, thank you so much. Oh my God, you're awesome. I appreciate you. But yeah, if you still have doubt, that's perfectly fine, dude. Perfectly normal. Now, the people where I find out that they did not actually meet another incarnation of their soul, a twin flame, You can't talk them out of it. You can't reason with them. They call you names. They tell you that you're being mean, even though you're just trying to have a rational conversation. Or if they don't do that, they just, well, come on, though. You know, they bargain with you. Come on. It's got to be my twin flame. I know it is, right? And I show them all of this peer-reviewed research that we've been talking about this whole time today for 4 hours. And I go, I really know what I'm talking about. Yes, I've really worked with 8,000 people. If it's not your twin flame, they're never going to come to be with you. They're never going to come to be with you. You're wasting your time. You might as well move on. Like that's the whole reason that you're asking, is because you want to be with them, right? And they're not your twin flame. It's not going to happen. And I'm not doing you any favors by lying to you. I got to say stuff like this to them, is what I'm telling you. I have to try to convince them, that I know what I'm doing up here, right? And they're not having any of the indicators, guys. No spontaneous, involuntary, forced, spontaneous spiritual awakening. Like the policeman comes and gets you. You're going to do it. You're coming with me. You're not getting out of it. We're forcing you to do it. Right? It's involuntary. Whereas the other people, it was within their control, right? They just took up an interest in spiritualism or something like that. Well, sign up, Taylor. You can start for $43. It's cheap. It's very cheap. And you can talk directly to me. And anyway, the video coaching is 60 hours. Oh my God. So yeah, don't worry about it, dude. The doubt is perfectly normal. If you did not doubt it, I would already know right off the bat it's not your twin flame. And again, the reason that people bargain, argue, name calling too now, apparently, the reason they do that is because they have an identity. They think twin flames is a personality type or something. And spiritual is a personality type, which again is the exact opposite of what the masters say. The Buddha, Paramahansa Yogananda, Krishnamurti, Ramana Maharshi, Jesus even, Eckhart Tolle, right? Spirituality is where you let go of identity. And to the language of emotionalism, empiricism sounds like hate. So that's why a lot of these people, when I just try to rationally explain to them, you're not a twin flame, this is just an identity investment, they get so mad because the identity, the ego, is made out of emotions and thoughts. And so they feel like their very existence is under attack. The masters talk about this all the time. I don't know how many Eckhart Tolle videos there are where he talks about that very thing. Like, that's why people get mad. You're not just attacking. Well, you're not attacking anything. You could be just explaining concepts and pointing out like logical fallacies. And instead of having just a rational debate, they feel like their very existence is being attacked. Like who they are, their very being. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy that they do that. But yeah, that's what that is. They've made an identity out of spiritualism, which is not spiritualism. It's the exact opposite. Yeah, Taylor, I have payment plans. If you go to my website, payment plans, I've got a sale going on right now. I don't know if you noticed. If you can afford to pay in full, go to my website, newworldallstar.com. Here, let me share my screen. So if you can pay in full, that's a good thing. You can get a discount. You can save money with the little coupon code that I have going right now. But if you can't do it, you can't do it. That's what I got payment plans for. And it's not a subscription. It's a payment plan. You either make 6 or 12 payments, right? So you're paying for my program. You can start for $41.58. If you don't know which one to get, silver, gold, or platinum, I tell people to just get the gold if you're not sure, right? Because you get 2 months of the group of the coaching calls and the secret Facebook group. And then when you're done making your last payment, you're done. 6 or 12 payments. And at the end of your payments, you're done. No more payments, and you keep it. You keep the video system for life, or at least as long as I'm alive. And it's over 60 hours. I put everything in there. There's no breadcrumbing. I'm not going to come back later and go, I need more money to give you the rest of the teachings. No, nope. And by the way, it's actually twin flame coaching. Just saying. And it works. It's a proven system. So yeah, you can start for very little, very little. All right, guys. I better get out of here. I love you guys. I had such a cool time with you. I love these live streams. I'm having such a good time up here, you guys. I really am. But I'll be back, as always, next Tuesday, as always, to answer your questions. And we're going to talk about some interesting things. I hope you guys have a super awesome rest of your week. I'll see you later.